Welcome back to Splice Splatter, everybody, the official film podcast of the Jean Cocteau Cinema in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where classic horror
meets modern gore.
I kind of messed that up, but I'm Siena.
I'm Al, and it's our 50th episode.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, us! We got a little cake here that I made bloody, and we're gonna watch it melt throughout the episode if you're watching on YouTube.
So excited!
Yay us!
Yeah.
I realized these will be our 101st. Films that we're covering.
Yeah, the first episode was a little bit different.
No, our Dawn of the Dead, Day of the
Oh,
Dead,
you're
Night
right.
of the
That one
Dead.
had 3 movies in it.
So
Look
we
at
ticked
that.
up. Yeah, so many movies.
True.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 100 movies covered. I feel like we've gone on such a journey.
Yeah.
I can't wait for all the movies
We
to
have
come.
so many more.
It's true.
So many more.
And I feel like people are really starting to ramp up the suggestions, which
Yeah.
I love. Keep them coming, guys.
Yeah.
I read all of them and I write them all down.
Yeah.
So please keep them coming.
This was the biggest one I think we've gotten over the years.
It was.
yeah.
And I'm going to
We're
talk
here.
about why I'm mad at you for that. We'll get to it. There's a reason why it's taken us to episode 50 to get to The Crow.
Truly.
I don't think I've even talked to you about this.
God.
But yeah, I'm mad at y'all. You've
Wait,
traumatized me.
I don't know why you're mad either. You're gonna have to fill us all in.
I love this movie so much. You all have traumatized me. We're gonna get to it. Yeah. Anyway,
This movie makes me cry.
yeah,
A
it's it. I think it may be the most haunted movie in film history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's like I feel like everyone knows the base, and it's
Yeah.
been so long since I was obsessed. I mean,
How
as
can
I was,
you
I was
not
obsessed
be?
with it in college. There were months where it's like all I watched,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been a minute. So I'm and same with Birds. Like everyone's
Same.
probably heard me talk about like this was
How
my,
important. This
Yeah.
is a foundational Al horror film.
This was rented at Blockbuster
Yeah.
for a wee child all the time. So it's been a minute since I watched both of them. Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, the
so
Birds
much.
truly are back in town.
Yeah. I've been seeing crows. I like you get a chuckle out of that one.
Thanks, guys. I needed that today.
Our peanut gallery. I've seen crows so much all over town lately. They've been like ominously sitting places.
I feel like they've been like following us as omens of the episode.
Yeah. I have new like apartments by where I live, and they've been like creepily sitting up there.
South side of Santa Fe, crows love that area.
Yeah. I love hearing them, but I've been hearing them extra lately, and I'm like, they know.
I love that.
But yeah,
I also have, I'm sure it's no surprise, a lot of crow-specific facts.
I
like
love that.
corvid facts.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah,
and-
you have lots of notes. I kind of kept mine tame.
God,
because
I wish I
feel
could
like
say the same.
this really is like The Crow is really what people want to hear about. So I got some juicy stuff for the Birds. I probably could have as many notes
I'm
as you
sure.
do. And I just with this week too, we've done a lot of exciting things. This has been
Yes.
like a wild week. Not only are we in Gatorade right now,
Truly.
but
we filmed 4 out of 5 days this week, correct?
I did 5 out of 5.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm burnt toast, y'all.
Jesus Crow.
Jesus Crow. But we've done really exciting things. So by the time you are listening to this, we have our behind the screens with the Santa Fe Bug and Reptile Museum. We got to hold so many cool we could have stayed there for hours, but we got to hold. I was very excited about the scorpion we got to hold. Actual scorpion.
I fell in love with a boa constrictor, I
Yeah.
believe, named Carmel.
She's beautiful.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's my idol.
Yeah, she had a little C on her,
On her
and-
back.
on her back that she
Yeah.
was named after. Her name
And she
Carmel
has
for.
like markings that look like eyeshadow. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
She's beautiful.
gorgeous.
So that's out on YouTube, and then we also
Can we finally
Yeah,
share?
yeah,
I mean, I
think
guess
so.
they've posted about
they've
it
posted
now.
about it,
so
we can do it now. But we were just also filming a behind the screens over the course of 2 days. As Above, So Below Distillery, which is like a witchy bar, like craft cocktail bar down the street from the cinema in the rail yard of Santa Fe. It's beautiful. It is very much like me and Siena's, I think,
It's the
dream.
vibe.
And, like put a
it's
bed
the
in there
vibe.
and leave me.
Oh my God, truly.
But we did. I'll let you say it.
So the first ever official Elvira alcohol is being created by As Above, So Below Distillery. It's an Elvira autumnal gin. And we got to go bottle some
Yeah, we
this
got to
week.
bottle. We
To
got to
taste
stick our
it.
grubby. Just kidding, they were
Yeah.
clean. We got to stick our fingers
Our
in
little
and
paws
like
in,
try
taste it out of the
some.
still.
Yeah,
The
have
still's name is
cocktails.
Lilith.
Yeah,
Lilith
there's-
the Stilleth.
It's there's cats. There's distillery cats.
yeah.
Which Siena lost their mind over.
Oh my God.
Um,
They're named Mash and gnarly, guys.
Yeah, it's
how could you
great.
not? Yeah.
All female distillery team. So right now, if you're listening in August of 2025, they're doing pre-sales right now. And then if you're listening to this in September or after, you can order online. So they ship to 40 states. So y'all can get your hands. And then I know that they have some available in state and like our surrounding New Mexico neighbors. So I think like Arizona, Texas, Colorado, soon to be California. But yeah, the bottle's amazing. It has little hinted gems if you know anything about Elvira, but
there's lore hidden in the label. And it's very like, I think she said that there's cardamom in it. There's, I think, a little bit of allspice. Like, it's very mugwort for witchy purposes. Like, it's
for dreaming. So, but yeah, so those are out to watch. I believe it should be out to watch, or coming soon. I don't know. But yeah, we were very busy this week, so it's kind of felt like a celebration week in that. But it's Friday for us now.
It's Friday for us now. By the time you're hearing this, we'll have done our first live show. Yeah. Can't wait to be on the other side of that.
I think I am truly can't wait to be on the other side. I'm excited. But I'm excited because I know that you have so many notes that I kind of just get to listen with the audience and do my dumb little reactions. So I'm really grateful for you for allowing me that.
I get to lean on my notes as a social crush, so I don't have to pretend that I have funny things to say live.
We just need to set this up for every live show. Is you just telling me and the audience.
That's perfect. I'm so comfortable with that.
Because we're doing another one late September at Morgan Crypt. So what is that going to be? We don't know yet, but come say hi.
Come find out.
We're working on new merch for that too, and it's going to be fun. So all those good
so many good things
coming.
I think those are all of our
things. Yeah, I'm like so nervous for whatever reason today to get through these.
I mean, it's our birthday. We've got to make it special.
We forgot a lighter. I was going to have us blow out candles. And then I was thinking, the way things have been going this week, I don't know, with technology and everything.
Honestly,
should we bring fire into the podcast?
We just burned the whole studio down by cake.
Also, Trav and Warren want to issue their sincere apologies for singing the chant of the very bad guys.
Yes.
Our memories were all a little foggy.
Yeah, none of us remembered where that scene came in.
So, shame. Also, was it appropriate that it was men doing that? Yeah. Yes, it was.
We're
appropriate.
Sad, we feel sad.
Trav says he's sad and they feel sad. So,
as they should.
Yeah, shame.
That's how
so everyone just shame them with us.
Great. Do you have a tidbit to kick us off?
It kind of like goes into the notes. There's no correlation really. Do you have anything that's correlating? Like a bird fact?
I have a bird fact.
Okay.
I wanted to start us off with a bird fact.
Let's start off with a bird fact.
Especially because I believe there are corvid actors in your film as well, correct?
Oh, yes.
Correct? Yeah. I'm so sorry. I can't start there. I've been making crow puns for the past 2 weeks straight. It's all my head is doing right now. So, as I discovered, crow...
We're just going to start calling the rest of this episode.
The movie The Crow does not feature a single crow. They're all ravens.
Yeah.
They're all ravens.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you could tell this. If y'all don't know, the easiest way to tell a raven from a crow, there's 3 main things. A, ravens are bigger. B, they have longer beaks. And C, they have like a very goth ruff around their neck. All of those, I think, are kind of aesthetic arguments for why you might want to cast a raven as a crow.
Yeah.
However, we are lucky to have a friend of the pod, Devin, who himself is a wildlife ecologist specializing in birds. And so I sent Devin a text and was like, hey, Devin, why would you cast a raven instead of a crow for the movie The Crow? And he was like, I've been waiting for this day.
It's my time.
Yes, it's his time to shine. So
truly
I'm bringing in several quotes
about
why they would potentially be better actors.
Yeah.
So Devin says, okay, just prefacing that this is not my area of ornithological expertise, but I know, you can just see it.
Yep.
Yeah. But there's pretty considerable overlap in what we prescribe as intelligence in corvids in terms of abstract thinking, problem solving, etc. But I would imagine the more social nature of crows would have something to do with them being more difficult to train as animal actors. Ravens are a more solitary species in general, whereas American crows are a more more social species and have strong social
That makes
intelligence,
sense, yeah.
like recognition of faces that's communicated across individuals and generations.
Oh yeah, that's
so
my
cool.
favorite fact about them.
Right?
If you have treated a crow or a raven bad, raven, you're talking about ravens, right? Or is it crows?
Crows are the ones that
Crows
have
are the
strong
ones that do it.
social.
Yeah,
social
if you
experience.
treat like if your
Intelligence.
grandparents treated them bad, they like
They'll
watch the
pass it
drainage and they
on.
pass it on.
Yeah.
and like generations of your family,
Yeah,
could be
will be
attacked
cursed by
them.
crows.
And
Yeah,
I'm like, good
the
for
bird
them.
style.
Yeah.
So, and that's in
Incredible.
addition to their problem-solving abilities. So the fact that so much of their intelligence is centered around group communication, crows that is, and dynamics might not be ideal for teaching one individual crow to, say, fly across a room and land on Brandon Lee's arm. Because you only ever see individual crows, meaning ravens, at a time in this film. There are 5 raven actors.
Oh.
One of them apparently appears in all 3 films of The Crow. It's the same raven actor who goes throughout all of them. I told Devin that, and he was like, well, that's another reason you might use ravens, because they have longer lifespans. So, also particularly for training, that's going to be easier. And one more reason, one of the things that these ravens had to be trained to do, because the entire shoot happened at night, and these birds, neither ravens nor crows, are awake at night usually. They had to be trained to completely change their sleep schedule, but they also had to be trained to fly in the rain, because it can't rain all the time. The entire movie takes place during the rain. And normally, all corvids would roost when it's raining, but ravens have a wider ecological or geographical spread. They are hardier, so they can survive in colder climates. So easier to train a raven to fly in rain.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the crows that you see in the birds are also ravens.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Which leaves me wondering, why do we not just call them ravens and they appear in movies? Why are we so
his
obsessed
last
with being
name's
crows?
Raven, so
I
really,
know.
like, could we have called it just Raven?
Raven? Yeah.
You know what I mean at that point?
Somebody call James O'Barr. Tell him to rename the comic.
You know what? Petition. No, but
I'm kidding, guys. Please know I'm kidding.
You know what I mean? Like, it was right. It's right.
It's right there. Yeah, but like, especially in the birds, like, why not just say it's ravens? It's interesting.
But I don't know.
Anyway, so there's our ornithological start to the episode.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, right?
I know you were like, you should reach out to Devin. I'm like, I don't have the time. I will leave that to you to add to your
I brought in the crows. We're good.
I don't know. I don't know why I'm like so nervous for this episode. I feel like I don't know what I wrote this week. Because I wrote my notes over the course of the entire week. I didn't sit down with them.
It was a long process.
Well, yours way longer. I cut myself off when you told me. I think it was like the day, like Wednesday. You were like, "This is how many I have." I think you said 16 at the time.
It was at 16 at the time. Now it's at 19. Sorry,
guys. You also have
because I have notes for the live show too.
Yeah, so we're saving. So we will be releasing the live show online.
You will hear it, and I'm gonna, as we go through the notes, I'll shout out where there were facts that I'm gonna give you the juicy details on for the live show. It's like a little preview.
Oh, fun!
So
I'm very excited. I don't have to wait super long for these too. Yeah. So, I guess just
your fact.
Okay, so my fun fact is kind of like just a little cute one. Didn't know where to put it. So, Tippi Hedren, like kind of how there's like a little nod to her in the film from when Alfred Hitchcock first saw her. So he first saw her on the Today Show. She had like a little commercial for like a diet drink, whatever it was, because the 60s. And so like in that commercial, she basically gets like whistled at. She like turns around and like smiles and winks. And so he saw her on the Today Show, like saw that commercial run. And so in the beginning of The Birds, there's that scene where she's about to go into the pet shop and like someone shouts and she turns around, she does like a little smile. And so that's his little nod to be like, that was the first time I saw her. So he put it in and I just thought that was so funny.
Well, and then it would be the same scene where he has his director cameo too, right?
So his director cameo in this one, it's so funny because he was like, let me try and change things up because everyone always expects to see things from me. So he put in his 2 dogs. Those are his dogs that he's walking, which are named Stanley and Joffrey. Because he would.
I'm sorry, what?
They probably have middle names. They probably got a salary.
Is that what George named Joffrey after?
Oh, in Game of Thrones?
Do we think?
I don't know. His dog?
Alfred Hitchcock's dog. I
Yeah.
could see it. There is
True.
a world.
You know, who knows?
Who knows? Not us.
But yeah, so that's his in the same space. Yeah, in the same scene. That is the little director cameo.
Aw.
But I thought that was kind of funny that he did that. And then I kind of have another little fun fact that I didn't really know where to put it, but we had covered Bride of Frankenstein, not Frankenstein. But the shot when the mom, Lydia, I think is her name, when she goes into the house and it's like that close up of the guy's eyes pecked out and it kind of like jumps in and jumps in. That was originally, that kind of sequence of shots was from James Whale's Frankenstein. And so Hitchcock kind of used that same style for that too, which is
it's
something
so
about eyes
frightening.
being hollow like that. From a kid to now,
it still hits the exact same way.
Yeah.
And it's really the only jump scare in the movie, arguably.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I mean, it's definitely the most jarring.
Yeah, and it still is
It's fucked up.
so
It's fucked
awful.
up. Yeah. So I didn't know where to put those, so I threw those in there because I
Love.
thought that was really cool considering we covered
Love.
something. Shall I just jump in?
Jump in.
I don't know why I keep thinking this film is like 1960s. 1963.
Psycho's 1960. That would be why.
Yeah. It came before. So covered Psycho before. So my second Hitchcock film.
Hitchcock, yeah.
Some taglines.
Our third, though, because we also did Rear Window.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
I forgot
look
about
at
that.
that.
Oh, we did those together.
Yeah.
Fuck. No, we
No,
did
no, no, no.
Disturbia.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, guys, episode 50, we forget.
We're a
Let's
middle-aged
move
podcast now, okay? Our memory's going.
Truly. My memory
Our memory's
was never there to
gone.
start.
Yeah.
Some taglines. There's a few. They're fine. I don't like any of them, if I'm really honest.
Good.
We kind of talk a little bit of the marketing later, but the marketing for this was just like a little weird. Hitchcock really, as we talk about, he just wanted like shock value. That's what he wanted.
This really feels like his most William Castle style film.
Yeah. We cover marketing, unfortunately, at the end, but some taglines we have. So stupid. Please do not see the end first. See it from the beginning. Well, no shit. You know what I mean? I think he was worried about people spoiling it for others, but boy, oh boy, did that need to be workshopped.
Yup.
The next one we have, they get worse.
Good.
Suspense and shock beyond anything you've ever imagined. Which is like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fine. Nothing you've ever witnessed before has prepared you for such sheer stabbing shock.
Sheer stabbing shock.
And then in a grammatical nightmare for me, or I don't like this one at all.
Yeah.
The Birds is coming.
No! Oh, that makes my
Birds
skin crawl.
Is coming. My notes really wanted to change that. I really wanted to change that. Unfortunately, it lives everywhere online, including the promotional trailer, which we will talk about later.
No!
The Birds is coming.
That fills me with rage.
I don't know. When I see this man talk, it hurts sometimes.
Ugh.
So,
God.
again, fan of his art.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, we know he's a terrible guy.
Horrible
and
person.
From the tiny bit I remember, I feel like this was one of the films where he really like went off the deep end in terms of his treatment of people. Is that?
I mean, it was not a great experience. We do talk a little bit about it. There are a lot of articles that cover a lot more.
Yeah.
Tippi Hendren has also been in interviews years later coming out. So we will touch on those things. But she has been vocal about it, and I'm very happy to hear that she's been vocal about her experience. But yeah, we have a shitty section of this, which will just be a teaser into how horrible
mine is.
Yeah,
yeah,
and sad yours is.
Yeah.
So, yay!
Yeah,
happy 50th.
That's spoiler alert. Why am I mad at you guys? Because did you really think this was gonna be a happy birthday episode?
Yeah.
Y'all are outdoing me on my sad gay birthday special.
Yeah, I definitely like had to fight to all the demons.
It's true.
Fun.
Yeah.
So original story, I didn't know this. It's which everyone else might. Daphne du Maurier.
I'd completely forgotten about that.
I feel like I had known this was an adaptation at some point, but like it's not something I think of when I think of this.
Especially because you think of Daphne du Maurier and Hitchcock, you think Rebecca.
See, I didn't think of anything. So it's one of three. So he did Rebecca. He did Jamaica Inn was another one of hers that he covered. Rebecca is apparently, I don't know when this was like when this was dated, but she still sells so many copies of Rebecca. So yeah, super popular. I haven't seen either of those, which is why I'm not familiar.
Rebecca's super gay.
Oh.
I think you'd enjoy Rebecca. It's like, it's very, very gothic.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, when I read a little bit about it, I was like, ooh, this sounds good. So
I think it'd be up your
those
alley.
were the other two. And then obviously The Birds. It's from her 1952 short story collection, The Apple Tree. And her inspiration was a true story. So she witnessed a farmer getting attacked by gulls while he was out working in the field. And so she took that inspiration. And that's why in her novel, it centers more around a family on a farm and like the father protecting the family. You do get the birds are obviously attacking the entire town, but that's really where you stay. And it sounds like there's a Birds 2 film, which Tippi is also in. It was a made for TV, and it looks a little bit more like that's what is happening there. But yeah, so real life gulls. I think gulls are fuckers. I do not like them.
Yeah,
they're terrifying.
They're nasty creatures.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. So, based on true story for her. And like I said, there was the other two. Rebecca won an Oscar. I forget what for. And then we have the adaptation and the screenplay by Evan Hunter. Evan Hunter is also an author. He was mostly like crime and thrillers, and he went by the name Ed McBain. And I'm like, also, Evan Hunter feels really good.
It does.
But yeah, so that was his pen name. He did do screenplays, but he was mainly known for being an author. And he wasn't Hitchcock's first choice. He really wanted the Psycho screenwriter.
Robert Bloch?
Joseph Stefano.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Bloch is who did the novel, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Okay.
Again, that was like a year ago.
Memory, who's she?
Yeah, don't know her. Again, as soon as these notes are written, they leave my brain, and then I say them, and they leave my brain again. So, yeah, he was he wrote the adaptation for it. Again, it took out a lot of the farm elements. They kind of just kept in that the birds attack a town.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. Hitchcock originally purchased this for his Hitchcock Presents, and then I'm thinking they just probably saw potential in it and expanded on that.
Interesting.
So they developed the story together, Hitchcock and Hunter, creating like key points of the story, like the townspeople kind of coming together and whatever. So Hunter also suggested that the film use elements borrowed from screwball comedies. So it's very funny because watching it with Trav, he was like, wow, this is kind of like a comedy.
Yeah.
That was the intent in the beginning, is to be this screwball comedy, set people up. Kind of like false sense of hope a little bit, to then just rip that from them.
Kind of the same way that Psycho sort of starts as a crime drama, almost. Yeah.
Kind of ends with one too.
True. Yeah.
Like it wraps the sister comes back around in like weird moments. But yeah, their intent was to set it up as a screwball comedy specifically, and yeah, kind of like tease and allude to these attacks happening later, which I think is so funny for Hitchcock to be like inspired by that genre.
Yeah, it's really not what you would expect.
Yeah. Hitchcock and screwball go together in a certain sense, but and like I said, they don't really have like a character. There's no character overlap from the original to this.
Interesting.
And then screenwriter Evan Hunter, if you're interested, wrote a short book called Me and Hitch about their collaboration with them on this movie, and then the lack of their collaboration on the next film that Hitchcock did with him called Marnie. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I have not seen Marnie yet, but I've heard Marnie and the Birds talked about a lot as kind of like,
okay.
I've heard that they have a similar kind of approach.
That makes sense because they're just like a year. Well, it took we'll talk about how long it took to do this film, but the fact that they come out within a year.
Interesting.
And then not only did Daphne in her original story use real inspiration, but Hitchcock also pulled from a real bird attack as well in Capitola, California in August of 1961. So at this point, they were kind of already writing the script and working on it when he heard about this on the news. One article about this event read, quote, Capitola residents awoke to a scene that seemed straight out of a horror movie.
Oh my God.
Hordes of seabirds were dive bombing their homes, crashing into cars, and spewing half-digested anchovies onto the lawn.
Oh my God.
Which is another reason I hate gulls. I feel like they just like shove shit in their mouth. They're like, never mind.
Very cat energy of them.
So obviously Hitchcock was like, wonderful. I'm already writing something about this, and this is exactly the inspo I need.
He's like, you had me at half digested sardines.
Truly. The fact that we don't have a scene where there's yakking.
It's almost surprising.
Later it was learned that the bird's behavior was due to some toxic algae that they had ingested or absorbed.
So they were like having a bad trip, basically.
I mean, they were, kind of like little,
That's
but they didn't know that horrible. At the time, so they found that out after. Obviously, in the 60s, people weren't looking into that kind of thing in that way. So moving on to music, or I said lack thereof. We have no music.
It's one of the things that I love the most about the birds. It's so, like, you and I both love an incredible soundtrack. That's a lot of what we'll talk about with The Crow.
Yeah.
The absence of music in this film makes it so much scarier.
And that was the reason. So we have Bernard Herrmann, who also did music for Psycho, Rear Window, not Rear Window, Citizen Kane, Taxi Driver.
He's also the one who did the Twisted Nerve song that comes in Kill Bill when the nurse is coming out. That's him. What she whistles is
I just watched that
Bernard
not too many
Herrmann.
years ago, to be fair, for the first time, and I loved it.
Yeah.
God, that scene's so fucking
it's
good.
Really
Jesus
good.
Christ. Yeah, so this man's a musical genius. And it was his idea to not have music because, again, talking with Hitchcock, they realized that they were going to get a lot more of that suspense. That was like the main reason that this film was made. Sounds to me like they wanted suspense and they wanted shock. Period. However they had to make that happen, they would. So he's credited as a sound consultant on this, so that's the title that you see. Yeah, which is like such. I just love that he was like, "I'll take a back seat."
Yeah, very.
Most people wouldn't.
That's so interesting for Bernard Herrmann.
Yeah, but he did help with the sound design of the birds, which is so specific. The sounds of the birds is done with a mixtrantonium, which is a early electronical musical instrument developed by Oscar Sala. He's a German composer and was responsible for a lot of electronic music that was developed in the 20s. Sick. Right?
I didn't know there was electronic music in the 20s.
Motherfucker made this little device and he was making electronic music. You're less allergic to the facts.
Yeah,
got it. Allergic to the facts, Siena doesn't know.
I can't say
I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, that's on brand for me.
Early synth music, 20s Germany.
Wild. Germany, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just an early synth. And so that instrument was most known for making bird-like sounds. So that's what you're hearing. You're not hearing mixed bird sounds. You're hearing an electronic instrument.
Oh my gosh.
Which adds to this I'm familiar but I'm not.
Yeah.
Why does that sound a little more demonic? It's because I don't think they used any real bird noises, but don't quote me on that. I think it was just this.
It's like an auditory uncanny valley almost.
Yeah.
That's so
Isn't that
interesting.
Cool?
I love that.
Again, so there was a lot of sound design just in a different way for this.
Ooh, good tid, Al. I love that.
It's really cool. There's lots of information about this instrument. I am not getting that techie in this.
So fair.
And so we're getting into starring. We obviously have Tippi Hedren. I think it's introducing.
It is.
'Cause it's her second film.
Whoa.
Her first one was called The Petty Girl. And I'm like, what a...
Oh, dear.
I kind of love that. And then she was also in a film I just wanted to note called Satan's Harvest, when I'm very
iconic.
Yeah. So second film ever she did. Like I said, she's also in The Birds 2. It's called Land's End. Made for TV.
Jesus Christ.
And so that film actually calls back to this film. She plays a different character, but they kind of talk about the events 30 years prior.
She's playing a different character in a sequel to The Birds?
Listen, it was the 90s.
Oh my God. What an insane
It was the
choice.
90s.
I realized this time watching, I know that she's Melanie Griffith's mom. I'd forgotten that her character in this is named Melanie. And I'm like, did she name her daughter after her character in The Birds?
Oh, I don't know. She didn't have a great time.
I was like, why would she?
She didn't, because her daughter was already
Oh, she'd
10
already
or
had.
something like
Okay,
that.
great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Scratch that.
Wait a
Everybody.
minute, because I was like,
Don't
wait, I talk
listen
about
to
her
me.
daughter later. Her daughter existed.
Great. Fantastic.
But weird, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Hitchcock did that though. It's a
if
very
so,
him
yeah, very
thing to do.
creepy.
Yeah.
It would be, especially since the character didn't come from the short story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into another character's name that has a fun backstory too. So Tippi Hedren, she I feel this is where we kind of start to talk about the shittiness. So she actually signed a 7-year contract with Hitchcock. She originally thought it was to work on his TV series. So she thought, like, I'm going to sign this. I get to work on a bunch of stuff. She did not. She actually only ended up being in 2 films of him, which is this and the one after.
Marnie.
Marnie. Yeah. And so she basically accredits to the downfall of her, like, or not downfall, but like this, like, really shitty era where she wasn't getting stuff because she was under contract. He promised her films. She wasn't getting in them. And she had a horrible time with this. So I feel really bad. So when she was when she first signed the contract, when she thought it was a TV series, when she realized it was not for the TV series, it's because they flew out actor Martin Balsam, I think that's how you say it, Balsam, yeah, to screen test with her. So they did scenes from Rebecca, scenes from Notorious, scenes from To Catch a Thief. And so she was like, wait a second, why am I doing all of
weird.
these? Yeah. So she realized I don't know. Read your contracts if you're going to sign one.
It's also so in line with the stories about Hitchcock just constantly trying to make other people into Grace Kelly, being like, I'm going to test you by having you read previous roles.
Yeah. No, that's
gross.
We have Rod Taylor as Mitch Brenner. I didn't realize he's the voice of Pongo in the 101 Dalmatians.
Whoa.
Which is so cute.
I love our horror cartoon crossovers.
I know, they're in so many like innocent
things.
He's also in H.G. Wells' The Time Machine and Inglourious Bastards.
Who is
I don't know where.
Inglourious Bastards?
Don't ask.
Oh, interesting.
Don't ask. I didn't write that down.
Cut that.
You all can tell me.
Winston Churchill.
He's Winston.
Oh,
Winston Churchill.
Whoa.
Listen, I don't recognize anyone from this era in anything when they're older.
Yeah, very fair.
Wildly different.
Very fair. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about that with Jessica Tandy. It took me like an hour into the movie to realize who she was.
I totally fucking because fried green tomatoes.
Of course, because fried green tomatoes. I'm gay.
I know, that's what I wrote. I was like, this one's for Siena.
Yep. Well, I'm like, she's so warm and lovable in fried green tomatoes.
Yeah.
This character is such a
oh my god, she's
hard
so
left turn.
She's beautiful though, man.
Oh, I know.
God,
I'm like,
she's such
Mommy?
a star. I know, especially the end when she's like,
oh, I
flipping.
know. Like, let's be real. Jessica Tandy in this super hot.
Yeah, she's really hot. In this.
Yeah.
She came on screen and Travis was like, oh, they're the same age. Like she looks so young.
I know.
in it. So,
yeah.
especially
like they
for this
literally
time, they loved Asian up bitches.
Yeah, like she has gray hair and that's it.
Yeah.
like
fucking star.
Yeah.
She's a fucking star.
Yeah,
it's
she's so
like
gorgeous.
yeah.
Ugh.
Love her.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're talking about a man right now, so we gotta go back to Rod. I gotta go back to Rod. So Hitchcock originally wanted Cary Grant for the role, but he was like, I can't afford that. Yeah. And I think he probably wasn't interested.
Well, I mean, he'd already worked with Hitchcock before, and Cary Grant was probably like, no, thank you.
Yeah, and also Hitchcock's excuse was like, the Bird's title and my name will do enough for this, so I don't need a big star. I'm like, bitch, the studio wouldn't give you a budget.
Yeah,
honey,
that's what
baby.
that is. That's what that is.
But fun story about Mitch Brenner's name, the character name. So you know that beautiful Tides restaurant that they shoot at, which is like
it's
the
stunning.
most perfect location of locations. So the owner, Mitch Zanuck, said, yes, production, you can use my lovely restaurant that you want to use for free if you name a character after me and you make sure the town's name is Bodega Bay. Bodega Bay.
Why did he want Bodega Bay?
I think because he wanted people to have Tide's restaurant and Bodega Bay, so they knew exactly where to go to his restaurant.
Funny.
I think it's genius.
It is. I mean, it absolutely is.
And so Hitchcock was like, sure. And he actually gave Mitch a speaking role. So where is it? It's like when Molly gets attacked. She gets attacked a bunch. But there is a part where she gets attached and you can attacked, and then you can hear him. He like runs in and he's like, "What happened to Mitch?" He's like, I'm Mitch. I just love restaurant owners when they
That's
do shit
so
like that. I think it's so
funny.
cute. So that's why we get Mitch Benner. Again, that's
Love.
why I think maybe Melanie's name, maybe it was just
also-
like, he was like, oh, your daughter.
Yeah,
Sure, let's
that
do
would
that.
make sense.
Jessica Tandy, of course, like we said, Lydia Brenner, aka the mom or mommy.
Mm-hmm.
Again, she's in Billion Thing, Fried Green Tomatoes, September Affair, which I totally forgot about that. Batteries Not Included, which is a film nobody talks about, but it's very weird and very 90s, 80s. And then Driving Miss Daisy, I didn't realize she was in too, but she's like,
She's incredible. And her performance in this is spectacular.
It's because she's cold. And you get it. And that relationship, like her being so protective of him, could have come off real creepy. It's borderline creepy.
Yeah. Like you
It's
feel
right there.
like it's going to head into psycho territory, but it doesn't.
Yeah. She like really plays, but it's still, she's warm. And then that tiny, tiny, tiny little moment.
At the end you empathize with her so intensely.
Yeah. So her performance in this is perfect. Also perfect performance. Suzanne Planchette as Annie Hayworth, the school teacher. She reminds me of Audrey from Twin Peaks.
Oh my gosh, she does.
Her attitude, like she's not as crazy as my favorite crazy.
True.
But she just
Nobody's
like
as crazy as Audrey.
I love her so much.
So great.
But I was like, oh my God, I never realized like she reminds me of her.
You're so
lot,
right. Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah,
Just
very
in
cut from the
essence.
same cloth.
Yeah, so what I love is that she wanted to play the role of Melanie. She's like, I'm a star. And I love her attitude. That is very much her attitude.
Also, like, Honey Hitchcock never lets brunettes be stars.
I know. But so she took the role as Annie. I love it. She took it because she wanted to work with Hitchcock. So she's like, fine, I guess I'll slum it in this role. But originally the part was written for a middle-aged school teacher who just lived in the community. She didn't even have any sort of backstory, which is wild to think about because I think she adds so much.
She's so essential to the
Hitchcock
story.
loved her so much. He gave her a backstory, kind of gave her a little bit more. So where he didn't put her as a lead, he really liked working with her. He liked it so much that he asked her to play Sean Connery's sister-in-law in the next film, Marnie. To which Suzanne said, because she thought of herself as a leading lady rather than supporting, she goes, "Is the sister's name Marnie? I don't think so. I don't think that's the lead."
Oh my God.
So she's like, how dare you? You love me, but you're not going to put me as the lead? The leads must be
You know
named.
what? She's giving Rose McGowan energy.
Oh my God, yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta, I just read this from her, but I would love to see if there's interviews with her. Because I love her. She's one of my favorite performances in this, actually.
She's so
rewatching
charismatic.
it. Yeah.
Incredible.
Too bad she dies. It kind of sucks, actually. I really wish she made
it's
it
such
out.
a sudden death too.
It's
like you really don't.
a bummer.
Yeah,
I gotta say that fucking killed the kid.
I know.
Fuck that girl.
Kill the
Fuck
kid.
her.
As always,
It should have been
kill the kid, eat the baby.
It should have been the little threesome.
Yes. Just end it with a thruple.
Yeah, truly.
That's the ending we all want.
I think so. That should have been the alternate ending.
That's the birds too.
Truly.
The birds 3, the thruple.
The thruple. Yeah. Trying to think of a crow pun, but I can't. Locations, obviously, Bodega Bay, California. And then the Universal Studio Lot, because it's Hitchcock. So the schoolhouse location is, I think it still stands to this day. I think I saw someone's, in like recent reviews say that they drove by it and it was really creepy. But it was said to be haunted even back then.
Incredible.
And so Hitchcock was like, love
Gotta
that.
shoot there.
Definitely want to shoot there. According to Tippi Hedren, she said the entire cast was extremely spooked by filming there. And she said that she got the feeling during shooting the building was immensely populated, but there was nobody there, which I thought was a wonderful.
That's a great way to put it.
Way to put that. So yeah, I don't know that I would love to drive down that street and see the schoolhouse. It'd be a fun little road trip.
And it was fun revisiting this now, having seen I Know What You Did Last Summer and seeing the location that they share too.
Oh yeah. Wait, what was it that?
The road. The beach
fuck.
road.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. I also talked about that, you guys.
Again, once we read the notes out loud, they're gone.
Oh my God, I forgot because I was really excited about that. Imagine this. I'm like, did you know? did. I know you
This
did
actually appears, and I know what you did last summer.
Oh my god, Christ on a cracker. This is why I was nervous today, because I'm like,
Christ on a cracker.
Y'all.
Yeah.
So like I said, Hitchcock loved shooting. He loved shooting in the studio lots. He hated shooting on location, so he tried to find crafty ways to kind of reroute back to studios. So one of them is in the beginning when Tippy's crossing the street at the pet shop. She kind of disappears behind a sign to then reappear. She disappears behind a sign so that he can cut back, and they're on a studio lot.
That sounds like Hitchcock, all right.
Yeah. When we have the children, the scene where they're coming out of the schoolhouse and they're running, that was they did it on location, obviously, but they also did a lot of backlot shoots.
You can tell that it's I don't know if it was a rear projection or what it was, but you can tell that the foreground and the background are shot separately.
So that was unfortunately not fun for the kids. They had to shoot over a few days because they were making the treadmills go so fast, and they had 3 rows of children that they would just like fall and then domino each other down.
I'm a terrible person.
He probably just kept them on set there for, I know,
yeah, he's just like sitting in his director's chair cackling as the kids topple.
Keep going, keep faster.
Faster.
Me and you would have been doing this. These poor fucking kids. I can't imagine anyone had a lovely time, because the amount of times you see the actors actually getting bit by birds.
Oh yeah,
on screen. And as someone who I owned 2 lovebirds, actually.
Oh gosh, yeah, and birds are vicious.
I owned 2 lovebirds when I was probably the kids' age in the movie. And they were siblings. I would not recommend siblings. One of them started to get very, very vicious. Oh, no. And even those little lovebird bites are atrocious.
When I was a very little kid, my grandpa's neighbor had a pet parrot who would fly around.
Do you know how like big or what kind?
Oh gosh,
colors. Give me colors.
It was one of the like very classically like brightly colored, like has all the different,
like a little conure, probably
something like that. Definitely was able to speak.
Oh shit!
Was one of the speaking parrots.
Okay.
And would like fly around the neighborhood when his mom wasn't home and like torment people because like he loved his mom.
Yeah.
Anybody else, immediate bite.
Yeah. Birds are very much like they have a favorite and they make
anybody else they will try to kill. Like
one of the women, not to detour too far, but I was attacked by a bird.
What?
One of the women.
This is not a detour. This is very on subject.
I used to ride for and help exercise her horses. She was like the most lovely woman ever. I still like am friends with her on social media. But she had a bunch of different animals and stuff, and she had like a conure who notoriously didn't like people. And so one day I was like going in to change from my work clothes to my riding clothes in her bathroom. Forgot my phone. My phone was outside in like my tack box. And I went to go open the bathroom door, dive bombed. And like angrily screeches.
No.
And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Went to go out again. And he bit. And so I would go out again. I was stuck in there for 20 minutes waiting until I had to finally just like book it. I was like, okay, we're going to do this. Like, I had to like ramp up and just like, the door is like right there. Most terrifying moment of my life.
Oh my God.
So I truly understand. Yeah. Like, this would be a genuine fear.
Oh, absolutely.
Of mine. Yeah. Too many birds. Anyways, so these poor children were not only running for their lives, but they had real birds attacking them. They also had, we'll get into kind of, the birds themselves and kind of what they used, but there are obviously very real birds.
Real birds, yep.
Being chucked at them. So moving on. We'll get there though.
Oh God.
We'll get there. Little teaser. So production, like I said, this kind of took a while. It took 3 years from start to finish to complete.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's especially for Hitchcock. That's an enormous.
That's why like Marnie comes out like right after.
Travis, can you look this up for us? Did he shoot anything in between Psycho and the Birds? Or was it Psycho in 60 and then the Birds in 63 with nothing in between?
It had to be because 61 is when he started pre-production for this. So he started writing the script 61, wrapped in summer of 62. So like from pre-pro to that, did he?
Not a movie, but he had a show.
He had a show. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So 61 started writing and started shooting. finished in summer of 62. Post-production, because there's a lot of effects work,
Sure.
took an additional 6 months or more, and they didn't even get the first rough cut ready until December of 1962. So that's why you get that like 3-year span of stuff. So yeah, it
Wow.
feels lengthy for
Yeah.
him, but I think it's because of all the special effects that they did, which we also will talk to in literally a second. We're gonna ask the question, budget. What do you think?
Oh no. God, let's see. I feel like I remember that Psycho was around 1.5 million.
I think so.
Something around that. This I feel like would need to be at least twice that. I want to guess 4.
Oh, close. 3.3.
Oh.
Which in today's money is $32.5 million.
Jesus
So it was beefy for like Hollywood.
I'm also just laughing at like the amount of inflation we've had.
Isn't it gross?
That's insane.
But
God.
getting paid doesn't go up.
Yeah,
Salaries
true.
stayed the same. Anyways, special effects. So the reason why there's 370 special effects in this film, which feels huge. I know like today there's a lot more, but
Yeah.
like boy oh boy, that is a lot.
For that time period, that's an enormous number of
370.
special effects.
And it feels
shots.
like it.
Yeah.
I feel like you can see them. So
A lot of the time they're pretty visible.
yeah. The final shot on its own, so that when they're driving away, is a composite of 32 separately filmed elements. So if that gives you context for how much like one shot can kind of put together.
So imagine you're doing like a ton of different bird plates composited on top of each other. Got it.
yeah.
Okay. That makes
A lot of
sense.
stacked.
That
Even in the
makes
bird
sense.
flying scenes, you can tell they probably filmed like 6
Yeah.
different and then had to like
Add
move
them on
them
top of each other.
so
Yeah.
that they look the appropriate size that they need to. Sometimes the crows look like they're flying, but they're not flying any farther away from you.
Yeah, yeah. The crows do sometimes seem to fly in place a
Yeah,
little
they
bit.
fly. Yeah, especially some of the like out POV like car shots. The studio also spent an estimated $200,000 alone on mechanical birds for the film, even though a majority of the birds we see are real.
Hold on to mechanical birds for mine. We
Oh my
have
God.
one in the crow
Yeah.
too. Just one.
Just
Only
one. Just-
mechanical bird. but
Damn.
yeah.
That's really good, actually.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Shit. The film was edited, so one of the people helping put all of this together was George Tomasini. He did Rear Window, Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho, so it was like
All the-
Hitch's guy. He was known for his experimental kind of editing and focusing the story on the characters, so it was he balanced this all really well. I know
I'm so sorry. I just got. I'm just gonna throw mid-episode at you a pitch for a future episode because I was just like, ooh, we haven't done Vertigo and The Descent. Fear of heights, fear of depths.
I would love that. I just watched The Descent again last
Ooh, I
year for
haven't seen
Halloween,
it.
and it's so fucked up. You want to talk
haven't
about
seen
sad?
it.
You want to talk about depressing?
Well, I've
Wanna
I've
talk
heard
about
it.
just-
It's like a metaphor for grief type
Oh
of
my
horror
God.
film.
It
But yeah.
is, and it is. It's not fun.
Right.
It's not a
Sounds
fun
right up
movie,
my alley.
especially if you don't like caves. It is the most
Ooh.
depressing movie ever. I would love to go.
Yes. Vertigo the Descent. Vertigo the Descent.
Yeah,
Vertigo the
they don't get
Descent.
an opinion. They're men. They don't get one today. They're still being shamed.
True.
Hell yeah. So again, he was the editor. He didn't do a lot with the special effects. We have many studios that were involved with the special effects, which I found very interesting. So, the film's special effects were commissioned by various studios. We have like 3, 4.
Wow.
And one of the special effects shots of attacking the birds, like most known for doing all the bird stuff, was Walt Disney Studios by animator and technician Ub Iwerks, who, if you're a Disney adult like me, is responsible for a little mouse called Mickey and the creation of him.
Oh, whoa.
So he is like royalty, his family,
Yeah, I'm
like
sure.
he has like lineage that worked there.
I'm sure.
He also did Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who I love. But he took knowledge from Disney and used it on the birds. It was a sodium vapor process.
Yes. Oh my
The
god.
yellow screen.
This is one of my special interests.
It's-
I am
oh my God.
obsessed with this thing.
I will probably have you talk a little bit because I wanted to get nerdy because reading about it is so fascinating.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, it's basically an alternative to the blue screen. They tested the birds on blue screen, but because of all the fringing of like fast wings, they realized this process would be better. So that's where we get that. And I didn't know that was from Disney.
Yeah, they were the only ones who ever had the technology. There was only like one camera.
And it was UB, which I have to keep reminding myself because it's UB, and I have to not say oob. It's UB, like bub. So I learned that, and that was a little bit of Disney lore that I was not familiar with. It's really cool.
That whole process is fascinating.
Yeah, I did look up, again, I did not have any time this week to do that.
If you have a specific video on it, I'll send you. That's really good. It talks about how it was used in Mary Poppins because
he won an Oscar for that.
Yeah, rightly so. Yeah. Basically, the short version is that this sodium vapor process was better than today's blue and green screens.
Yeah, that's what I read, and I was fascinated because I'm like, so many people talk about that, and I'm like, I've never heard the term yellow screen before.
Yeah, because there was only ever one.
It's wild.
Yeah, and it's spectacular.
Yeah, I don't know what they would have done without it because it honestly for 63,
it looks pretty. I mean, like, it's still kind of rough, but thinking about, like you said, flapping wings, that's about the hardest thing you could possibly composite.
It's not like they're doing one where they could spend the time.
Right.
Like
they're doing like 30.
Yeah. I think I
like
have
30 per shot.
Yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. So, oh my God, I knew that you were going to either know a little bit or know a lot about.
Like basically the reason it's lost now is that there was this specific like lens that was used on the camera that now there was like only ever one made that had this specific kind of prism, and now nobody knows where it is to like study it to make another. Yeah, it's the whole thing.
It's in that Disney vault.
Yeah.
There's vaults upon vaults.
I know.
Upon vaults.
Somewhere
it's
down there. Yeah.
In the descent, in the Disney vaults. That's where it lives.
Sodium vapor conspiracy 2026.
I thought it was so cool. It originated in the British film industry in the late 50s, and then it was used by Walt Disney in 60s and 70s. Let's see if I have anything else that you didn't say about that. He won the award for Mary Poppins, which
it's so perfect.
Yeah, what a great film.
The video I watched pointed out like she has a
share that with all of us?
with like transparent netting on it, and like today you could never green screen that out. Like we don't have the technology to do that anymore.
It's like more. It's allows it to be more detailed to get a little bit. It's wild to me, and the fact that I didn't realize it's not. I guess you don't hear about it, so that makes sense. But I didn't realize we just like lost.
We've lost it.
Technology.
We've lost it.
Damn, we need to unearth that because shit. Imagine what we'd have now.
I know.
Ew.
Yeah.
Another studio was MGM. They worked on optical effects sequence, so like Melanie inside the telephone booth being attacked by birds. They specifically worked on Hitchcock said that Melanie's character looked placid, and so they kind of redid her face in that. So they kind of, I don't know how, I think there is detailed, everything they have, the birds has so much written about it.
Yeah.
I didn't want us both to have 16 pages of notes, so this was a 4-hour episode. So there's lots of information online for you all, but that was what their focus was, which I think is so fucking funny to me.
I'm so curious about
So they wanted her kind of in constant movement and reaction. So I don't know if they had other shots and kind of composited or whatever. Very fascinated by that. We also have Bill Abbott at Fox. Fox was another studio that they used. Wow. So he was in charge of also optical effects for the crow attacks. There's so many crow attacks. He had 2 teams with him, both working 11-hour days to work on like these sequences that they had. He said his biggest challenge was the size ratio, which I talked about. So ensuring the birds looked like they were attacking the children and making sure that, again, we don't have these huge birds that are in this frame. So I think they did with as many birds as they had, the best that they could. Finally, we have Universal Pictures, which is a Universal production, and Ross Hoffman and matte artist Albert Whitlock, who were in charge of designing the town's backdrop. So the backdrop, they had like the painted trees and scenery and river shots of Bodega Bay. So that was kind of like their part of the puzzle. So I thought it was very interesting that we had all these really huge studios coming and working and being kind of pieced together, which feels like does not happen very often. So I'm very surprised. Maybe just because it was early enough and these special effects that they just teams were willing to work
so
together
interesting.
on this.
Yeah, you so rarely see studios. Like, at most, you see one, like, lending a performer out.
Like one, yeah. Not like four.
Yeah, and not like their VFX services.
Oh, yeah, like their main people.
Yeah,
so
that's wild.
Yeah, they all came together. So moving on to the actual birds, we have Ray Berwick as the main guy in charge of the birds.
Mm-hmm.
He both trained and caught them. Listen, I get a little gray area. I want to do more research on this specifically because I'm just chalking up a lot of this to the time.
I mean, it was a very bad time for animal rights. Like, it just,
as we know from talking about other films.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is 17 years before they killed a snake on camera in Friday the 13th. Like,
Yeah, it's tough. So, they did buy animals at pet shops, but they also caught seagulls at dumps in San Francisco.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And they just picked them up like, you're coming home with me. Which is honestly what I want to do with the pigeon. Yeah. But everyone abandoned the pigeon. They were like, they literally were just, they were trained to be little allies in war or something like that. What were they supposed to? I forgot what they were.
Like
specifically
carrier
trained.
Pigeons?
Yeah. But we literally went, never mind. And they're supposed to, like, they're not, they need humans.
Sad.
They're meant to have humans, but they were just brought over and dumped. And so if you take a pigeon off the street, which I advise everyone to do actually, they'll just be very happy living with you.
That's really
And I really want one. Because they
really
need
cute.
humans. And they like humans. And they purr. And they're sweet. Yes, they purr.
Okay,
they're very cute. Yeah, I love pigeons.
That
Anyways,
won me over. Yeah.
But fuck them gulls. I don't know. I think they're like awful birds.
They're the bullies of the bird
They're
world.
such and of humans.
Yes.
I believe that they would attack us.
They're the bullies of the world.
Some sparrows were caught by this guy who worked on this. He's a stuntman and a film director. His name's John Bud Cardos. He was just catching sparrows.
Out catching birds. Weird. Don't like that.
None of this. I don't get how they got away with some of this. So like I said, some were from pet shops as well. Alfred Hitchcock revealed on the Dick Cavett show in 1968 that they used 3,200 birds that were trained, in air quotes, for the movie. Like he said, ravens were the cleverest, obviously, so they didn't really have a ton of crows, but it was ravens. Seagulls were the most vicious, and they were. This is where we get morally gray. Yet the ASPCA was on set for this. So Rod Taylor, who plays Mitch, said in interviews that some of the seagulls were actually fed a mixture of wheat and whiskey to get them to stand still and chill. Which I find funny because, again, the ASPCA, what were their criteria at the time? I don't know.
So they just got the seagulls drunk.
Which, honestly, the seagulls probably enjoyed.
Yeah.
But wheat and whiskey. Nap time. So I get it. So yeah, they did do a good thing. They did build a avian hospital kind of. So if the birds got sick or injured, or too drunk on set, they did take care of them on set. So they built this big thing. I know, is that wild? Drunk seagulls. Hitchcock's like, here, pour one out. You know,
this one needs to get its stomach pumped. Jesus Christ.
And then they did put large nets over top of set, so again they couldn't fly out or hit something and injure themselves. So they tried, and then they also did not try to take care of these birds. Most of the birds, they did have fake birds. So like the swing set and school set, they had a lot of paper or cloth dolls.
It looks like it.
That's my favorite scene.
It's incredible
when she doesn't notice, and then you just hear the children singing inside.
Oh my god, it's so scary.
It's my favorite. Scene
it's
in this film.
The most iconic scene from the movie.
I love it. I'm like, bitch, look, bitch, look, bitch, look. And so, like I said, for the kids running on the treadmill scene, they had hand puppets, mechanical birds, and then a couple of those live birds. You could very much tell which are which. Yep. And to get the live birds to do what they want, they did some traditional techniques. So to fly towards the camera, they would have meat hanging below and just be like, come get your food. They did a lot of prep work, they said. Like I think they have two, like where the little girl at the party is like running up the stairs and then falls. They have like little shoulder uh contraptions on them so they can kind of like stand on them so it's not standing on the kid. So and then for like safety reasons they would bind a lot of the birds' beaks shut so they wouldn't bite the kids in certain scenarios. Unfortunately, in the same scene where they pop the balloons, they also had the birds' beaks taped shut, but they had pins, like needles, sticking out of the bird's mouth so they could pop. I know. And one of the birds, or a couple of the birds, flew away, and they were like, "Great, they'll die because their beaks are taped shut." Luckily, they said they were able to get those birds back and unbind them, but I'm just like, oh my god. He probably realized, upsetting. Shit, I can't eat. I have to go back to these fuckers. God damn it. I don't know how much death happened with birds on the set. That's why I want to do a little bit more research to like know, but I can imagine I'm sure there were casualties.
Yeah, I'm sure there was also like a lot of bird death cover up going on. Like,
yeah, I'm sure there's like background images. Like, is the bird alive? So obviously you're working with birds, and we see them getting bit. And so our leads definitely did not have a good time. Tippi Hedren was cut in the face a few times. We'll get into her. But specifically, there was a raven named Archie who did not like Rod Taylor, who played Mitch.
Amazing.
And he had it out for him. So Rod said, quote, "Every morning if we were on set together with Archie, he'd come over and bite me. I hated him and he hated me. I'd walk in and say, 'Is Archie working today?' And the crew would say, 'I don't think so, Rod. I think we're just working with seagulls.' And then out of the rafters would come Archie. He hated me and would wait in line for me." So again, to your point, he must have looked grudges. Like, and he must have looked like someone that Raven was like, maybe the handler. I don't know.
He's like, I feel in my bones.
But I love that they're like, he comes in like, is Archie working today? And everyone's like, I don't know. And it's just like Archie's like, yeah, bitch, here I am.
Thought you'd seen the last of me.
I fucking love ravens. Tippi Hedren, again, she got cuts, but she had worse than that. So when the birds are attacking the townsfolk, like in the phone booth, and when she opens the door, the bird trainer would like throw. They did a lot of throwing of birds at people.
Hate that.
They would throw the seagulls in. And there's even like some of the photos from that were published in a book, which I'm like, oh my god, the fact that this like lives in infamy for her, in a book called Hitchcock at Work by Bill Crone. So if you're interested in seeing these awful photos, there it goes. And then the scene in the attic, which is kind of like the final scene, where not only her character gets traumatized, but poor Tippi, it was the worst of the worst. So again, she spent a week filming that scene. They were Hitchcock had the crew chucking seagulls at her, chucking birds at her, because he thought it was intensify her performance. No fucking shit, it would. And not her performance, her real live human reaction.
Experience,
and so after a week of many injuries and enduring that, her last straw was when a bird ripped a hole into her lower eyelid. So she got a really bad injury. It caused her to have a full-blown meltdown.
Yeah, of course.
Her doctors were like, we need to pause on this. Yeah. Like, she needs a moment. She's not okay. And so I can't imagine I stuff kind of freaks me out anyways.
Yeah.
I wear contacts, so I'm like okay with touching my eye, but like eye injury is one of my biggest fears, especially as a contact wearer. I'm like amoebas, and then I'm gonna go blind, and then this
Oh my God.
So her doctor was like, absolutely not. She needs to take a break. So
how do you close your eyes then? Like if you've got a hole in your eyelid.
I don't know. So they shut down production for that because they couldn't film with her anymore. So I'm glad her doctors actually
stood up for her. Yeah, thank God.
That does not happen a lot. So she also unfortunately not only spoke about that experience on set, but she also has outwardly spoken in interviews, like a 2012 interview, talking about Hitchcock sexually harassing her, which again, I'm very proud of her for speaking openly. She said, quote, "I think he was an extremely sad character. We're dealing with a brain here that is an unusual genius and evil and deviant, almost to the point of dangerous because of the effect that he could have on people that were totally unsuspecting." Which I think is a very, it's a very
awful.
poignant quote from her. So and then on top of that, she's, stuck in this contract with him. She has to do this next film. I'm almost glad that she only had to work with him one more time.
Yeah, truly.
She did not have a good time.
Well, and especially knowing Hitchcock, I'm sure he made her life even worse on Marty as punishment for her.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know if I want to see that movie for that reason. And then a slightly ticket back up note. I thought it's kind of funny. He kept a graph in his office that charted the rise and fall of the bird attacks, and I can only imagine it was just like because there's just so many chaotic moments that you don't know when to expect.
It really is quite a bird roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to wardrobe, though, we have the icon herself, Edith Head, who I love her.
She's incredible.
I grew up, my mom was like obsessed with, my mom was in fashion and obsessed with fashion, and so Edith Head, it was a very well known name in our house. So she obviously designed Melanie's iconic green suit that she wears throughout the entire film. They kind of wanted to, her and Hitchcock kind of talked about her color palette, talked about her wardrobe. They obviously wanted her in this very cool tone to
Hitchcock icy blonde.
Contrast. Yeah. And then like you said earlier, they wanted her to be like Grace Kelly. And so they actually took an unused outfit from Rear Window and kind of redid it for this one. So that's kind of where we got that from directly. I know, right?
God, he's such a gross
I know.
man.
Like, be subtle about it.
Yeah,
Like,
do you think you're fooling anybody?
God, just look at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shame. So because she wore the that suit throughout the whole thing, there were a total of 6 made for her.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. So they had identical suits, and then they just get more bloodied and like ripped over time. And one of the suits is showcased in Ireland's Museum of Style Icons in Newbridge, and is part of their permanent collection.
Love that.
And just like a little side, speaking of her appearance, apparently it was reported when Tippi looked at herself in the mirror after getting her like injury makeup on, that she kind of was just like, hold please, and then like walked outside and vomited after seeing herself. She probably also was just traumatized, I'm realizing too.
My lead actor for their death scene.
Yeah.
I was like sitting down with them beforehand and like trying to check and make sure that they had everything that they needed, and they were like, "No, I just took a look at myself in the mirror. All the cuts, I'm good." Like,
really?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be horrified seeing myself, because I know the actress in Cabin Fever, when she saw her like stripped.
Oh yeah,
which, like that's actually super horrifying.
That's pretty horrifying.
Yeah, your face like ripped off and your like teeth exposed. But I don't know if it would like. I'd be sick.
Yeah.
I probably think it's really cool.
Same. But I'm glad that works for actors.
Yeah. Maybe see myself in like old people makeup.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
that would do it for you?
Yeah. Yeah, because I have a fear of death.
Interesting.
So, in that way, like getting old and like dying, you know? Not like death, like rip my face off, sure.
Right. Yeah.
Being old.
So like
totally
the
rational.
thing that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
The imminent. Yeah. It's that's my future.
Good.
Super excited about that, guys. So moving on to the marketing, like I talked about. So the trailer for The Birds. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Fucking Hitchcock, man.
Oh,
It's
God,
actually really cunty, and I kind of love it. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Just do The Birds trailer. So it's Hitchcock. He also like he's in this like office. There's this like very like Walt Disney music playing in the background, full of taxidermy birds.
Of course.
He also
little psycho reference there, maybe.
Yeah. He also introduces himself, and I gotta realize, I don't know if he does this every time, but he's like, "I'm Alfred Hitchcock." And he just says, does he always say it like that?
He sure does.
I don't like this
it's
man.
gross.
I love his work, and I just hate him so much.
I know. I'm like, you really love that your name has cock in it.
Yeah,
don't
he
you?
really
like shut
saying
up.
it. God,
Yeah.
it reminds me of the. I've never watched Game of Thrones, but Pedro. No. Pedro Pascal's character says like a little line. I'm not going to say it on air, but if you know, you know. That's what it reminds me of. So, anyways, he's in this room and he's like going over the history of like man's relationship with birds and basically like satirical in the way that like, oh, they must love being put in zoos and cages. They must love being, you know, murdered for sport.
Right.
Like, so weird. Why would they ever hate anything else? And then he like sits down with like talking about like, oh, Thanksgiving, they're the center of attention. And then he gets like, he loses his appetite, which I love. It's cunty. It's actually really funny.
That's kind of incredible.
Because he's just like making fun of everybody. So it's great. And then Tippi Hedren, you hear the crows, right? You hear the birds. And then Tippi Hedren comes racing in, shuts the door, and she's like, they're coming. And then there's like all these like title cards. The birds is coming is part of that.
God, that makes me so
We also have my favorite, which is just suspense is another. There's like 80 fucking things of text on it. You know, it could be the most terrifying motion picture I've ever made. Like all those kind of things. So that's the trailer. It's amazing. God. I love it. And then there's like a tagline kind of too. And remember, the next scream you hear may be your own. God. I actually love that.
I love that his trailers were so like early mockumentary style.
Yeah.
Like this same thing for Psycho too. Yeah.
It's so great. I mean, it worked, you know, it was this thing. So the Birds premiered on August 29th, 1963 in London, which I find fun. So aside from the actors there, they had birds, but not any birds really in the movie. They had 2 flamingos, 50 red cardinals, starlings, and 6 penguins. Little penguins.
Oh my God. That's so...
Because they couldn't fly away.
Well...
They couldn't actually attack people, which I love. They're like, let's get a couple of...
What an odd choice, though. Penguins and flamingos.
Horrible.
Just set the tone for a horror movie. In London.
Yeah. But aside from having live birds, even though they were a dumb choice, they also had loudspeakers hidden in the trees of the theater. So when everyone was exiting, there was like flapping noises and
that's cool.
caws to make people freaked out.
So William Castle of him.
It's so good. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then kind of part of that too. So again, the lack of music. I don't know what cut you watched, but on the DVD they did not do the end. Did you see the title card?
I did not see the
end?
title card at the end, no.
So, they didn't feature the classic title card at the end. They were, I guess, like forced in some of the screenings because I think it like left people too ominous.
It's a very abrupt ending for the 60s, which is, I think it's fun. But...
And it was perfect for what they were going for. It's like they wanted, again, with the attacks that had happened in 61, and then, you know, the source material even be inspired on you know, real attacks. I love it because he was like, be afraid.
Right. Be very afraid.
Yeah, be very afraid. And speaking of ends, there was supposed to be an alternate ending. It was never shot, but screenwriter Evan Hunter did kind of sketch it out with a storyboard artist, Harold Michelson, who they worked with. So he actually is a very cool guy. He is a storyboard artist, but he also worked as art director on like Spaceballs, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, sick.
He was a visual consultant for the 86 The Fly. So he did a lot of like art department, but then also storyboard.
Cool.
You can see some of his sketches. If you have the DVD, they're on there. They're also online. But they kind of thought about this idea in pre-pro, kind of chucked it out after because they realized how expensive it was going to be. So they were going to actually end the film on a bunch of birds on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay, that's
so kind of because again they think they're driving to safety,
right?
And then the fact that it's the
birds are everywhere, which
that
would be a really great image. But I imagine it just
they really
now with computers we would be able to do that a lot more easily. Yeah, but I imagine at the time,
and then they also would have had the roof of the car being attacked by birds. So instead of kind of like letting them drive on this
out
nice
safely,
note, nope. Doom.
Interesting. See, I actually think the driving out quietly is much more terrifying because it's like you feel that they're going to attack at any moment, but you never get the relief of it actually happening.
Yeah. And that's, I kind of love about the bird attacks in this is sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And that's what makes you feel uneasy. It's like, why aren't they right now?
Yeah. It's like you can't tell what they're thinking, which is really scary. Yeah.
So it could have been fun, but to your point. So audience reaction, overall, people had mixed feelings. They liked the suspense, but then again, people kind of And they like the special effects, obviously. But then again, they found the plot a little weird, and then they found the ending confusing. I just think people
weren't ready.
Yeah, I don't think they were ready for it. And then critics thought the same thing. Hitchcock also had come out to say that he deliberately omitted any explanation for the behavior of the birds. He knew that it would create questions, but he kind of liked that it was like a little bit chaotic.
Right.
Can you guess how much this grossed at the box office?
Oh, I feel like this did really well.
Did well. It didn't do as well as I thought.
10 mil?
Okay, so if that's you thinking it did, yeah.
I would have said higher had you not said that. I was initially going to guess 20.
Okay, yeah.
Based on your reaction.
11.4.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, it did okay.
That's fine, but
I think people just didn't know what they were getting into.
And
the marketing felt very like
it's more of a
weird
gimmick movie than Hitchcock is typically associated with.
Yeah, he just wanted shock and suspense. And I think when you just go with just trying to do that, things can fall through.
Yeah.
So I think the critics and audiences were like, rightfully, I think this movie is amazing.
I do too.
I have notes.
I understand why people are like, there's, Rear Window and then there's the birds. Like they're going for different things.
That's why childhood me liked the birds.
Yeah,
so much,
absolutely.
It was just fun and scary, and
it's a ride.
Yeah, it's a ride. So obviously the reputation of this film has grown over time. It aired on TV in 1968, so 5 years later, and became the highest rated movie shown on TV up to that point.
Interesting.
Until Love Story aired in
Whoa,
72.
Fascinating.
So yeah, your earrings are from what's her name that's in it, right? Not these ones.
Oh yeah, I do have Ally McGraw earrings.
Yeah, Ally McGraw earrings. Yeah. I was like, these ones,
am I
but
wearing anything today?
They're the hummingbird ones, you were right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Aww.
Critics. So again, they kind of felt the same thing. It was not universally praised, but nothing super.
It's a horror movie. Yeah. They rarely are.
Yeah. It was the last Alfred Hitchcock film to be nominated for an Academy Award for special effects, but lost to Cleopatra at the time. Which makes me want to peek at Cleopatra because I'm like, this does so much, so I can only imagine. A little bit of legacy. There's a ton of legacy, to be fair, but some things I found fun is Tippi Hedren's script was donated by her for the Smithsonian National Museum of American History, so that lives there.
That's
super
cool.
I don't know if you remember this, but in 2008, Mattel released a Barbie doll of Melanie Daniels.
Oh my god!
Do you don't remember this?
No.
You can still buy it. It's on eBay for like $150 to $450. It's her. I have a picture. It's her green suit. She has 3 detachable crows, and then she has a damn bag that she is able to hold on to the whole time.
My god,
I
I
fucking
love
bag
that
whole time. So that's her little.
Oh, that's
Barbie.
incredible.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
The background too, so you can buy it like in the case still.
Glorious.
And speaking of dolls and the daughter. Just to end kind of where we began, her daughter was given a present by Hitchcock during the filming.
No.
It's not super creepy. It was just a doll that looked exactly like Tippi and came in like a little wooden box. And Melanie recalls like as a child being like, it looked like she was in a coffin. So I feel like it was just this really
That's such
bad
a Hitchcock prank to pull too.
Here's this doll of your mom, definitely not in a coffin.
Right. Definitely not dead.
Yeah. And then I want to kind of do some offline research, but kind of just leaving this as I did a little bit of research, and then I was like, oh fuck, I gotta stop my notes somewhere. So I'm giving you a taste, and you can all look up yourself. But I thought it was really interesting. There's conversations around the birds kind of being a classic example of like when nature attacks and a precursor to zombie films.
It very much feels like it, particularly Night of the Living Dead was coming up in my brain a lot.
Yeah, because that kind of came a few years after this.
Yeah, just 5 years after, I think. 5 or 6, because it was 68 or 69. 5? Okay, great.
And then, so I thought that was kind of like a fun way to look at this too, that I kind of want to re-watch it and do some of my own side research, and you guys can too.
Love.
Because I think that's, again, watch the trailer for the birds. It gives you a really, I would say start there if you haven't watched in a while. Or if you've never watched it, watch the trailer. It gives you really nice insight of like what he was trying to say with this, if it's not already hitting you on the head. Anyways, But yeah, the
Amazing.
birds.
The birds.
I hope I hit an hour, but I feel like I tried to keep it. I'm glad I cut my notes off because damn, I could have gone an hour and a half.
There is so much about this that I didn't know. I am delighted that this is a sodium vapor screen.
Yeah, I'm
film.
so
That's
happy
cool.
to see your reaction because that was my favorite thing to learn. Was the yellow screen, and yeah, there's tons of well, not tons, but there's a decent amount of that information online
It's
for
so
you all to read about. But
yeah.
I thought it was really cool, and I had no idea that it started with the dude who fucking created Mickey Mouse.
Did not know that either. That's wild.
Yeah. Iwerks. I've watched so many. I know so many. I'm a Disney adult. I know so many Disney facts. It's gross. Like if you and me ever go to California and go to Disneyland,
I have never.
I
been
could
to
point out
Disneyland.
specific bricks. I could point out light bulbs, and tell you their facts
Wow.
about it. So that's where like my nerd
Incredible.
goes sometimes. But yeah, so that was like a fun little worlds colliding
Love
moment
that.
for me. So. Okay, the cake is still not melting fully, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah, its structural integrity is greater than we'd expected.
Yeah, to be real lukewarm.
Shall we take a break and then come back to our purchase?
Oh my god, yes, please.
Yes.
I'm very excited to hear about that. Do we just squawk away?
Yeah. And we're back. I know you're feeling relaxed now.
I know.
I have
I'm sorry.
never been more stressed.
I'm sorry. I'm very happy. I'm happy. This is
so-
like the last big thing I have to do this week.
God, I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I'm very excited to hear all of the awesome things I know you have that have been done. Well, not awesome, unawesome.
Yeah, some of them are awesome.
Okay,
some
cool.
some
Okay.
are good. Some are good. We have a sad corner that we're gonna get to. Unlike with the snake fact with Friday the 13th, I'm not gonna do that at the beginning to get it over with. I think
great.
it's.
Love.
I mean, like I feel like if we other
have to
people
start
may
light.
feel different, but I feel like if we start the episode by talking about how Brandon died, then
It's hard to just like be like, oh, this is cool.
It's hard to go back into it from there. And
I'm
so
with you on this one.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you for taking us on that route.
Yeah. So there's thought that went into it. As I told Al earlier, there are going to be places where I'm going to say, I'm going to tell you that fact at the live show. The live show will be released, so y'all can hear those facts too. You won't be deprived of that information, but I'm just going to like point to tidbits in a couple places. Let's jump in.
Yeah.
Some taglines. Unlike yours, we've got a wide variety of, very good 90s taglines. I think this movie is there's just no shortage of lines of dialogue that you can turn into tags, right? So of course you get "It can't rain all the time."
Yeah.
"Believe in angels." "Real love is forever," which is I think what they used for the 2024 reboot too, which we're going to talk about that as little as possible. I don't think either of us have seen it.
No.
I have a lot of feelings on why it shouldn't have been made.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
And then one that I thought was very funny and ties into a question that Travis was asking before we started recording: darker than the bat. Because we're going to talk about the role that this movie has in the development and evolution of the superhero movie, because it's very important. So let's dive in. This is directed by Alex Proyas, who is a Greek-Australian director. Also did 2004's iRobot, 1998's Dark City. I know, surprising, right? But this is his first feature film as a director, which makes what happened on it all the more heartbreaking. He had come, though, from the world of music videos and commercials. So he'd shot videos for Joe Jackson, Fleetwood Mac, Rick Springfield. He'd done commercials for Nike and Kleenex. And it is, in fact, that experience that gets him the gig, because producer Edward Pressman had been advocating really hard to hire music video people for this.
Makes sense.
And we're going to talk more about the crew on this film than I think any other film that I've covered, because this film's crew, it's one of the most wild, like, collections of people who go on to incredible careers who had done nothing before The Crow. Like, whoever was picking crew for this film had an unbelievable knack for it, because like everybody who headed a department on this film, it was basically everybody's first time, and like
Wow.
To a T. Every single one of them goes on to be like the top of their career, of their
It's like
field.
a good casting where it's like,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
really is.
Wow.
So we're gonna get into that more than we usually do. Screenplay is by David Shao and John Shirley. David Shao came to this from work on Texas Chainsaw 3, Critters 3 and 4, and the Freddy's Nightmares TV series. So he's got a genre-heavy career. That's why he gets brought onto this. We'll talk about it in a second. Goes on to work on the 2006 Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, if the name's sounding familiar.
Yep.
Yep. And he pitched his take on Eric Draven as, quote, a gothic rock and roll Terminator.
Perfect.
Yeah.
To be fair.
John Shirley came to this project after exclusively working in the TV world on projects like the RoboCop series, Defenders of the Earth, and the Real Ghostbusters. He did work on a couple of film projects, but he pretty much returns to the TV realm after this. Works on things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Oh my God, I love.
Red Shoe Diaries, and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So you've got somebody in the mix who's already really got an episodic aesthetic, which I think
Yeah.
helps when you're adapting a comic book, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously based on the comics by James O'Barr, which were first published in 1989. This is neither a Marvel nor a DC comic. It is an independent comic. We're going to talk about that a little bit and about its publication history. It's fascinating. And this film, of course, is dedicated to Brandon Lee and his fiancée, Eliza. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It's significant, of course, not just because of Brandon's death, but because of James O'Barr's own backstory. More on that later. Do you know about this?
I don't.
So The Crow is based on two, much like The Birds, based on two separate real-life stories. Oh, thank you. This is
Black lipstick.
the problem of doing Eric Draven makeup is
Yeah.
you're going to have Eric Draven teeth.
It looks so good. Yeah, no, I don't really know any of the best.
Oh boy, we're about to get into it.
no.
But first, stars. Obviously, the incomparable Brandon Lee as Eric Draven / The Crow. That's, the whole episode is going to center around Brandon, as it must. He's the son of martial arts icon Bruce Lee and Linda Lee Cadwell. Grew up speaking Cantonese and English, and his father started teaching him martial arts as soon as he learned to walk,
Wow,
as you
of
can
course.
imagine.
Yeah.
However, he continued until his death, but he died when Brandon was only 8 years old. And we're going to talk about Bruce Lee's death because that's part of the horror of this story, is the way that there are echoes of the family history. I'm seeing from your reaction that you know
Yes.
this story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while Brandon had starred in a few martial arts movies before this, kind of most famously Showdown in Little Tokyo with Dolph Lundgren, The Crow was going to be his breakout role pretty much when he died
Yeah.
on set at my current age of 28.
Oh, fuck. That's, God, I forgot what age he was.
Yeah,
Oh,
my age.
man.
Real awful.
Damn.
We have Ernie Hudson as Sergeant Albrecht, best known as Winston from Ghostbusters. He's also Elsie Duncan on Family Business. He's Joseph Vaughn on LA's Finest, Jacob on Grace and Frankie, Agent Fowler in Transformers Prime, Dr. Fields on Secret Life of the American Teenager. He also, as I was scrolling through his IMDb, I sent you the poster for this. He was in a movie called Nosferatu.
I told Trav about that last night. He was like, what?
The tagline
Oh, no.
is sucking blood and keeping kosher. So
Honestly, one of the best taglines
it's
we talked about on
incredible.
this
So like, if any of my fellow Jews out there are looking for something to do tonight, Nosferatu is out there.
If you need to pick me up after listening to
Which
this.
you will. So I know what I'm doing tonight to
love
recover.
him, man. God,
Incredible.
This is the most perfect role ever.
Right?
For him.
Michael Wincott is Top Dollar, who we were just talking about as Antlers Holst in Nope.
That fucking voice, man. I just kept wanting
Incredible.
to say, I am
I'm
people
people
eater.
eater. Yeah.
That's all I want to hear.
He is also in Strange Days, which I just finally watched. Thought it was really interesting. Three Musketeers,
Yep.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves,
just watched both
Alien Resurrection, Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man, The Doors, Born on the 4th of July. Just like a fucking stellar career across the board.
Yeah, he's a wild actor.
He's been in everything. And really, distinct kinds of roles too. Like, I don't feel
yeah.
like there's a typecast you can put to Michael Wincott.
This man's like everything.
He's everything. We have David Patrick Kelly as T-Bird. We just saw him on screen at the JCC in The Warriors. He's
Oh my god, my brain totally. I was like, why is
but that's not what you're recognizing him from. Because he's Mr. Ostrowski in Malcolm X. He's Drop Shadow, what a name, in David Lynch's Wild at Heart, and he's fucking Jerry Horn on Twin Peaks. Yep.
Oh my god.
I know the roles are so different that like you almost don't recognize him. Even though it's
I don't recognize from anything.
2 years after Fire Walk with Me.
Wow.
Like it's the same time period and he looks completely unrecognizable somehow.
I always want to place this movie earlier.
Yeah, I know.
So,
yeah, 94.
94.
And a fun little tidbit. Jesus Christ.
You're turning into me slowly this week. I'm so sorry.
Darker than the tidbat. Because David Patrick Kelly's character quotes from Milton's Paradise Lost, he actually bought this gorgeous antique copy of the book, and that's the one that he's quoting from in the film. So he personally found and purchased that crop.
Cool.
Rochelle Davis is Sarah. She's only got 7 total credits.
That's what I said about. I was like, she's either been. She goes on to be someone we really know,
or someone who does nothing.
Yeah, and it was nothing.
One of her credits is upcoming, so curious about that. One of them's a podcast appearance, so not exactly an extensive career.
Oh my God, we should get her on here.
I know, but this was her first time on screen, and she would have been 13 at the time of shooting.
She was great.
She's incredible. We have Bai Ling as Micah. She's also in Richard Kelly's Southland Tales. Speak of the Donnie Darko Devil.
So good.
She's in Lords of Dogtown, Nixon, Revenge of the Sith, Sharknado 5. I believe this was one of her first, if not her first English language project. I know.
Sharknado 5 is killing.
No. Good. Just casually drop that.
I forgot they went up that high.
Truly. They keep going, baby. Like rows of shark's teeth. There's just more.
Just more.
She's obviously got extensive career in Chinese language projects, too. I think she'd worked on 8 Chinese features before this and guest starred on 2 English language programs. We have Sofia Shinas as Shelley Webster. She's also a singer, and her only screen credit pre The Crow was a music video for one of her own songs.
Oh.
But since this film, she's gone on to roles in Terminal Velocity, Planet of the Pits, and Outer Limits. We have Lawrence Mason as Tintin. He's got a very sort of procedural TV-centric resume, so he's guested on shows like CSI Miami, NYPD Blue, The Shield, Burn Notice, The Good Wife, Gotham, Chicago Med, The Blacklist.
Once they do one, they do all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kind of a package deal.
Yeah.
On the big screen, you might recognize him from True Romance, Hackers, AI Artificial Intelligence, or The Lincoln Lawyer.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Michael Massey is Fun Boy. He's also Andy in Lost Highway and the Man in the Shadows in The Amazing Spider-Man. But as we're going to talk about, because this film traumatized Michael Massey so much, he took a break from his career after The Crow. He has come back to it since, but, you know, it's...
Yeah, that's traumatizing.
Yeah. And of course, my beloved Tony Todd.
I
had forgotten he was in this.
So the last time I watched it, I was not on my Tony Todd shit because of you.
Yeah.
And that, like, obviously I knew him from Final Destinations, but also wildly different. With
Such
the
a
beard.
different
Love
performance,
him.
yeah.
But like now I like get really excited and look out for him. So
anytime he's
like,
on screen, I'm
shit.
like, I can't watch anybody but Tony Todd.
Yeah,
And
though.
because you lent me your special features DVD, the featurette on there has some great interviews with Tony Todd, and he talks about, he's like, I couldn't figure out who Grange was until I found this ring, and this ring became the whole character. And I'm like, God damn it, Tony Todd, can you be any cooler?
He's so cool.
He's the best. However, this Tony Todd, not the only horror icon cameo we were intended to get. I think I mentioned this on our Hills Have Eyes episode. Michael Berryman shot a role in this film.
Oh, shit.
Was cut out.
Whoa, he would have been great in this.
Yeah, he was going to be...
Steeler, though. He would have been too good.
Truly. His part was called the Skull Cowboy. It's a very important part of the original comic. He's kind of like a mentor figure to Eric, who sort of explains the rules of the universe.
Okay, never mind. That would have eaten.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be on the other side.
No. He's somebody who's like, because there's this whole lore in the comic that originally was supposed to be in here that they had to kind of cut after Brandon's death. His character is completely cut and basically replaced by Sarah's voiceover. So that serves a lot of the same purpose. I tried to find any kind of stills of him in makeup. I couldn't find any. I know director Alex Proyas really was not happy with what the makeup looked like and felt like it was going to be distracting. And so I think they've done as much as they could to kind of remove all evidence of what that looked like. But he fully taped the part.
That's wild.
And you do see some evidence of Skull Cowboy's scenes still in the film, because one of the extended sequences that had Skull Cowboy and then Skull Cowboy got cut out of it involved Fun Boy slashing Eric with a razor, Skull Cowboy explaining that it's because Eric has strayed from his path of seeking revenge for Shelley. He's interfering with the mortal world, and so he's able to have mortal wounds. And then Eric covers the cut up with the black electrical tape that we then see him wearing for the rest of the movie. So it just kind of appears. We don't get an explanation of why. That's
so
why.
funny. I noticed that this time.
And it kind of just feels like, he just like, it was just a cool fashion choice. Yeah. Like it's not distracting to me, but now you know why that exists.
Interesting.
There's also 2 writer cameos in this film, but I'm not going to tell you where. You've got to listen to the live show for that so that you can spot it.
Damn it. I'm so glad I only have to wait a week. Sorry you guys have to wait longer.
And you're also going to have to listen to the live show to hear, I'm sure everybody knows that once Brandon died, some of his sequences were shot with stand-ins.
Which sequences?
I'm going to tell you both which sequences and who one of his stand-ins was, because he goes on to the wildest career imaginable.
Damn, that's
you got to wait for that, though.
Yeah. Damn, I hate being teased myself by this because I'm like, shit, I really want to know.
Yay, good.
Just stay off the internet for the next week.
And according to the soundtrack notes for the sequel, producers wanted Iggy Pop to play Fun Boy, but he wasn't available at the time, so he then does show up in The Crow City of Angels.
Yeah.
Wild alternate casting. So let's dive into the writing. We're going to bring comic writer James O'Barr back in at this point, because not unlike The Final Girls, this is a story that is born as a way to process grief. Barr was raised in a Detroit orphanage. Obviously, clearly most of this story, it takes place in kind of a fictionalized world, but it's very based on his experiences in Detroit.
Yeah, they say Motor City at some point, or Motown.
And when he was just 18, his fiancée Beverly was killed by a drunk driver while they were both still in high school. He then joins the Marines to try and cope with the loss, gets stationed in West Germany, and while he's there, starts working on The Crow. This is heavily influenced by his military time because his supervisors in the military realize that he's a really good visual artist. And so they start assigning him while he's there to draw graphic illustrations of things like how to dispose of bodies, hand-to-hand combat. And he starts processing the combination of this real grief and these incredibly graphic, gory images he's being forced to draw by creating The Crow.
Whoa. I can't wait. We're going to have the graphic novels at the live show.
I know. After reading about this, I'm not really a graphic novel person, but I'm like, I need to pick up a copy of this one. And I have a quote from Barr, because all of the details he put in are intensely personal. He says, quote, "All the characters are parts of me, even the bad guys. I think that's where the best writing comes from. A need to understand the characters and their motivations. A lot of it was based on real people and real places and real things I witnessed. It's very autobiographical. Every place, every street mentioned in the book is a real place, or was at the time, even though Detroit really doesn't exist anymore." Which I thought was also just like such a... I'm sure everybody has different feelings about that, but I thought it was a really poignant way of putting it.
That Detroit doesn't
That
exist.
Detroit, Obviously, Detroit still exists.
Yeah. Come on, where'd it go?
The Detroit he grew up with does not exist anymore. But it takes him 6 years to write this comic because, as he says, it was very painful to work on. Comes out in 1989 from Caliber Press, which is a very, very tiny company based in Detroit at the time that, because it's independent, is able to kind of support the story's grit. And according to O'Barr, it goes on to be the most successful independent graphic novel of all time, which honestly, I would buy that being true. I have a quote from him that I thought was very fun. He says, quote, "It became what I call the neutral milk hotel of comics."
Shut the fuck up.
I know! 2 people got it and understood it, and then gradually those 2 people lent it to 2 other people who they knew would understand it as well.
Oh my god.
What a great comparison.
Fucking hilarious.
Right?
What?
Like, it is. It's the neutral milk hotel of comics. However, I told you this is based on 2 real stories. I've given you one. The other true crime that this is based on, you've got to wait to the live show to hear about.
Y'all, we're all going to be frustrated with this episode together.
So, when O'Barr first takes the project to studios, he has to shut them down because the studios are interested in it, but
he wanted to shop it around himself?
Yeah, he wanted to see this become a film.
That's kind of wild.
It's
you never see
interesting,
someone,
right?
Question for you, did he have that idea when he first wrote it, or after he saw the success, he's like, oh, wow, I could see this turning into something?
The understanding that I have is that, okay, so he got pretty early on an offer from New Line Cinema that he ends up turning down. But I think it's because he starts getting a little bit of interest that he's like, oh, this might be something I could actually make a little bit of money off of.
Sure.
But it's such a personal story. I want to keep some control over it. And so he starts shopping it around. Thank God, because studios are interested, but they're like, there's no way this can be a rated R film. It's going to have to be PG-13. And they start pitching to him.
Oh, God. No.
A Crow musical starring fucking Michael Jackson.
I thought you were saying
nodding.
Oh.
Yeah.
Again, like early 90s. Boy, that would make sense for studios so on a day.
Yeah. And poor O'Barr has to be like, you could not possibly be further from the vibe we're going for.
Yeah, it is like Final Girls, which is like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
This is literally like the most traumatizing piece of art that I've ever created. And you're gonna tell
this
me
is
that?
my soul.
Yeah.
And you want it to be a Michael Jackson musical.
Yikes.
Meanwhile, back at Caliber Press, John Shirley, remember he goes on to be one of the screenwriters on this project, comes to Caliber Press and pitches a comic called Angry Angel. And they're like, we're really interested in this, but we're going to have to turn it down because it's too similar to a comic we just published called The Crow. And John Shirley's like, what's this comic called The Crow? Picks it up, gets super interested in it, and is like, wait, this needs to be a film. He tracks down O'Barr and is like, dude, I've got to adapt your story.
Yeah.
Offers obviously much less than New Line Cinema does, but is like, I will include you in the process. And O'Barr is like, I can tell this guy's really passionate about it. I trust him. And so he's the one who gets it instead of New Line. We love.
Yeah.
Right? And he's very involved. O'Barr himself oversees 3 different treatment drafts and then the first 2 drafts of the screenplay itself. So there's a lot of work being done to keep it as true to the comic as possible.
That's really cool to know, too.
I believe he was on set for a good chunk of the filming before Brandon died. Did not choose to come back afterwards, but we'll talk about that.
This poor guy, like, having this comic about grief.
I know.
It's,
again, it is the most haunted movie of all time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So then Shirley does 2 drafts while the producer, I think his name is Jeff Most. I mostly just have him written as Producer Most.
Perfect.
Producer Most insists that he is contributing. WGA rules are really strict at the time, though, about producers getting screenplay credit, so he doesn't get a screenplay credit. We love. And then John Shirley gets in a fight with an executive, gets booted off the project. David Shaw gets brought in for rewrites based on the strength of his reputation doing splatterpunk. So, which, like, I'm like, at least they're on the right vibe,
Yeah.
And then the distro rights are picked up by Paramount. And if you're going, wait a second, that's not whose logo I saw, you're correct. That's not the production company that ended up releasing this film. We'll get to that.
Wow, yours studio bounds too, but in different ways.
Oh, yes. So, themes, approach, and history. Let's talk about the page to screen a little bit.
Yeah.
Because there are, again, it tries to be really true to the, like, heart and soul of the comic, but there are some plot differences.
Too much leather.
Too much leather. Sorry,
Again,
y'all.
for those of you not watching, Siena is like...
I'm crowed out right now.
You need to bring this everywhere all the time. But you were in a lot of leather.
It's a whole lot of leather, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm very sweaty.
Like, mesh and I'm dying.
Yep. Okay, page to screen. All right. So in the comic, there is a literal crow. And this is, like, Draven is spiritually connected to it. He feels the pain of it. That becomes much less a part of the film. I think that's a good choice. Even O'Barr is pretty content with that. One of the other really significant departures, though, and this is part of the reason I want to go back and read the graphic novel, centers around drug use. Because in the comic, Eric engages in self-harm and drug use as part of his coping with the trauma. And in the movie, one of the changes that they have to make in order to get the movie made is that he's like, I'm super anti-drug, but also let me stab you in the chest with your heroin needle. Like, it's...
Well... Yeah.
It's
drugs for bad, and then he just touches and milks the one lady of her heroin. It creeps me out. I don't like that stuff.
To me, that is the least successful part of the movie. Yeah. But, and I think that's part of why that's the part where it feels to me the most like it's fighting who this character is and the source material. Because, like, again,
it makes sense,
I'm like, this Detroit musician, like, you're not telling me that he's that much
clean.
It's not,
especially in this world.
In this world in 1994, like
in that loft.
I'm not buying. I've seen loft.
We've seen Rent.
Yeah, exactly. We know what's going on behind those doors.
No, I especially how they set him up, like that whole unveiling of when he comes back and that trauma, like. Would he not reach for something again, or
of course. Of course.
Yeah, and like that's the world they're operating in.
And that was, part of what O'Barr went through when he was coping with his own trauma. So he puts that into the writing. Yeah. So
interesting.
And kind of off of that, less monumental to me, but still really interesting. In the comics, Eric isn't a musician; he's a mechanic.
Oh,
he's a car mechanic, and
Detroit.
so that's part of this. Yeah,
I
it's
like
very
the
Detroit
of it all. It actually makes a lot of sense for the first screen.
And it's something they choose because the comic is so inspired by The Cure, by New Order, by like there are chapters of the comic that are like named after specific goth songs and stuff. So it was a way of paying tribute to that, which we'll get into in a moment. So, director prep. According to Producer Most, Alex Proyas was an extremely big fan of storyboards, which makes sense for a comic adaptation. And here's a quote from Most. He said, one of the things that he did during the early stages of production was bring over a friend of his, a very established comic book artist in Australia named Peter Pound. He literally drew every storyboard as if it were a comic book panel. And I'll put some images here. It's gorgeous. They were drawn to a level of detail which I had never seen and never have seen since. That was carried through with Andrew Mason, our visual effects supervisor, who subsequently worked on the Matrix films.
Oh.
There's a lot of people in this who go on to work on the Matrix films. We're going to talk about that in a second. However, before that, let's talk about Eric's look, which normally I would save that till production, but it comes directly from the comics, so we're going to talk about it here. Of course, the makeup of the Crow, a lot of people are like, oh, it's Kiss, it's Alice Cooper. It is not.
Oh, it doesn't give, it makes sense, but I don't know why
you can see why people would think that.
It's white makeup with.
But again, think about O'Barr. He is this incredibly traumatized kid who's stuck in West Berlin at the time. What do you think he's listening to? He's listening to things like Bauhaus. Yeah. He's listening to things like Kraftwerk. He's listening to things like Joy Division. Yeah. That's what the inspo is. It's a combination of that kind of like Berlin music scene with a specific London marionette he'd seen, which he talks about a lot in interviews and says, quote, I thought it'd be interesting to have this painful face with a smile forcibly drawn on, which I think is a big part of why it is now impossible to watch this movie and not see all the ways that it inspires the Joker and all the ways that it goes on to influence the Dark Knight. So I did a little mood board. The vibe was less this.
Oh my gosh.
Than this.
Yeah. I mean, that's where they show the puppet, the mask hanging. That gives like vaudeville.
All right. Now we get into the production. Do you know what the budget of this is?
I have no idea. I mean,
did
it blow your mind? Is it huge?
It is so much smaller than it should be.
Really?
It's so much smaller than it should be.
Oh my gosh. 5 million.
Bigger than that.
Okay.
Bigger than that.
I was like, they just squeeze everything.
Yeah. Oh my
15?
God. Actually, that was the original budget. That's what it was up until Brandon Lee died. And then, of course, the budget has to get bigger from there. But originally, this was shooting on just a 15 mil budget, which to me, coming from the perspective 94. Of like the horror movies that we talk about, that sounds like huge, right? However,
this is a big film.
This is where we bring in the history of superhero movies, because I was like, I need to reference other movies in this genre, not other horror movies, right? And so I was like, okay, let's look at some comparison points. in the world of superhero movies, what had come out before this, you get Tim Burton's Batman, 89, 5 years before, and that was 48 million.
That makes sense. It's like peak
48
Burton
million.
years, too,
Yeah.
so that actually makes like so much sense. Wow.
Yeah, so again, 5
There's a
years
lot in that one.
beforehand, more than 3 times the budget that this was supposed to have.
That same like gritty, practical, vibe.
It's a really good comparison point. But keep in mind, Batman is a PG-13 film.
Yeah.
And The Crow had to go, spoiler alert, through 4 different rounds of cuts to get down from an NC-17 to an R. They really didn't want to give it an R. And so, at this point in time, there was really no belief that an R-rated superhero movie could make that much back. Because at this point, what had come out that was a superhero movie that was rated R? Basically just RoboCop and Sam Raimi's Darkman. That's pretty much it up until this point. And
RoboCops are.
RoboCop to me really feels like it's a separate kind of thing, you know?
But
it technically
makes
is
sense
a comic book superhero movie, but feels very different. And in terms of things that preface the world of superhero movies that we live in today, you really have to look back to The Crow. I think this is the one that sets us up for everything that we get today.
For sure.
And yet does it so much darker and grittier. Like it is.
It's painful.
Yeah, it's disgusting in the best way.
Yeah.
Like
it really hits you hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have a second.
Nope.
Forgot
So
how hurtful it is.
It really truly is. After Brandon's death, the budget goes up to 23. So all of the reshoots, which I'm also honestly quite impressed by, that they had their lead actor horribly tragically die, and it was only 8 million to finish the film.
Do you answer this later? So if you do, how long of a break did they take in between?
We're gonna talk about it.
Okay,
yep.
Perfect.
Put a pin in it.
Pin.
We're saving that for the sad section.
Great.
Cast and crew. We're still in happy times.
Yeah, we're still in happy times. Sorry.
So before Brandon Lee was cast, there were a few names that were getting thrown around. Can you guess who in 94 you might have cast as this?
I can't think of a damn person right now.
This feels like a very, you having me guess who was almost in Donnie Darko type of moment.
Oh.
Similar names, actually.
And like if he was older, I don't know. Actually, I don't know who. Similar name?
Two that kept getting thrown around.
Blanked on anyone I ever know.
Christian Slater.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And my beloved River Phoenix, who of course then tragically also dies in 1993.
Why did I not think that, actually? I should have guessed. You should have someone I
been,
always talk about.
It would have been incredible.
Wow.
He would
that
have
feels
done
of the
job,
time, too. When was Heathers in comparison to
Heathers?
This two? Was he on his,
88.
Okay, so he was like Christian Slater.
However, producer Pressman also suggested John Bon Jovi. I know.
That's gross. I hate that.
Yep.
In like a million different ways. No offense to anyone who's... I can't name a song.
I can understand that they want it to be a musician thing.
I'm Bon Jovi.
That's all I picture too. That's what my brain does. I don't know anything that man is sung.
I have a question. How old was he at this time?
Great question. Young. I have no idea. I have zero interest in
How old? Trav, look up how old John
real.
Bon Jovi was.
In 93.
93.
3 is when it was.
He had to have been like 45. How old was he? 50? 70?
What was it, 1983?
He wasn't 28.
93.
You can't have an older person. This is like a young lover's like tragic
absolutely.
story.
31.
He was 31.
Wow.
I don't know if I
John
believe
Bon
that.
Jovi in my head is just like always 55. Always.
Yeah, he gives old.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Brandon was, however, the only one who ever got an official offer. There are rumors going around that like it was offered to somebody else. It wasn't. He's the only one who got an official offer.
Yeah, my brain was like Eddie Furlong, but he would have been so young.
That's so funny.
Point. But he was like, I don't know, little
I could
gothy
see it.
kid.
I could see it.
You know?
Thing is,
baby.
When Brandon...
Does he go on to be... He's in the second... He's the third one.
Oh,
so that's right.
Look at that. It all comes back around.
I'm so sorry. So I was right. I would have been a great casting director. He just wasn't old enough.
Nail coffin.
Yeah, that was a horrible movie. Who knows?
However, when Brandon was cast, O'Barr wasn't sure he was the right fit until he met him in person. And I have an O'Barr quote about it that I thought was really sweet. He says, "The first time I met him on the set, he was sitting across the room from me and did not come over to say hi, and I didn't quite understand it. Eventually he comes over and says, this is like when Roy Batty met Tyrell. It's like meeting your maker. I liked him instantly that he quoted Blade Runner.
Oh,
I
cute.
know.
What a couple of nerds.
And from the beginning, Brandon puts everything he's got into this part. He drops more than 20 pounds.
Shit.
According to the producers, by like the time of his death, he was 6 feet tall and only 138 pounds.
Holy crap. Yeah,
Like,
he was lean
He's
in this.
really
Yeah.
skinny. And like, as they say, it's not like he had a lot of weight to lose to begin with.
Sure.
And he combs the script. He removes racist subplots. There was at one point going to be an Asian supervillain trying to steal Eric's powers. And Lee was like, if I take this role, that's not going to be in there.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
listened to him.
Wow.
We love.
That's great.
He also, of course, co-choreographs all of his fight sequences
sure.
himself, just
Why
like
would
his
he not?
dad, which, like, obviously his dad's essentially been training him for this from the cradle. His partner in choreographing the stunts is Jeff Imada, who also works on the likes of Blade Runner, Lethal Weapon, Roadhouse, They Live.
Amazing.
Incredible. As producer most, recalled Brandon, quote, he had gone to the hospital on every movie because he was always trying to push the envelope. He wanted to push himself physically and what could be accomplished on film. He embodied the spirit of his father in trying to reimagine how one can put action on screen intelligently with substance.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, to live up to that legacy, I'm sure that, especially when your, like, dad has passed, too, it's like you then have so much more pressure because you're the only one.
Now I have 2 quotes that are going to make you cry, if these haven't already. Here's another from producer Most. He says, quote, when he arrived in North Carolina, one of the first things he had me do was find a guitar teacher because he was dead set on doing some guitar work for the movie, most of which he did. Sweetie. Brandon was virtually his own choreographer. He was going to have that little Yugo car come at him, jump up in the air onto the roof, end up standing on his feet, facing the opposite direction. And we were like, that's great, but that's on the last day. He kept working at it and insisted he was going to do it.
No, shut up. Shut your mouths. Everybody shut up. Take a lap. No, I don't want to cry on this. I'm hormonal this week, guys.
If that isn't enough to make you cry, here's a quote from John Polito, who plays Gideon, the pawn shop owner. He said, my first shoot with Brandon was the scene where he comes in through the glass door and says the infamous line, I have just S on me. I'm assuming that's shit on me. I don't remember him saying that. I don't know what the line there is, but he says the infamous line shit on me. The Gideon does. Okay. Brandon, the crow's not saying that. Anyway. Sorry, guys. I'm like, what's happening? So Brandon walked through the door with the crow on his shoulder, smashing through the breakaway candy glass. We had to stop because we realized Brandon was covered in blood. He'd cut himself in several places, and he said, come on, let's just go ahead and keep shooting. Aww. And I said to him, Brandon, let's not pull a Vic Morrow, a reference to the actor who'd been killed on the set of The Twilight Zone, which turned out to be a really bad thing to say in retrospect.
No. Can we pretend?
Sorry, guys. As I said, I'm really mad at y'all. I will just one kind of happy note before we move out of this section. One of Brandon's own main music world references for this part was somebody I'd not heard of before. Chris Robinson from a band called Black Crows.
Oh,
look at that. Yeah.
That hair.
So I love that he's going for kind of some goth deep cuts too.
Yeah.
Making of. Locations. This shot in Wilmington, North Carolina, of all places, and began on February of 1993 on what was supposed to be a 54-day schedule. As you can imagine, there are a lot of supposed to be's in this story. Yeah. The studio they shot at, or at least one of the locations they shot at, was a converted cement factory, still full of lime dust. As I mentioned when we were talking about the birds, shot almost exclusively at night, working with reportedly non-union crews. What I'm guessing is that it was a mix of union and non-union because like New Mexico, North Carolina is a quote-unquote right-to-work state, which, you know, all this plays a role in what goes on to happen. So you've got non-union crews shooting from 10 p.m. to sunrise under near constant rain machines. But if you're wondering why is this Detroit set movie shooting in North Carolina, it's actually really funny, and you're going to have to wait for the live show to hear how they found that location.
God. I hate this. You're doing such a horrible and good job at doing them. I'm like, oh my God, what?
I had so much fun picking out which ones to save. Because I didn't want the live show to be all just facts about one part of production, so I tried to sprinkle it through.
It's great. I hope everyone at home listening is also sighing heavily.
That's my
with
goal.
me.
I'm hoping to make you all as mad as I am at you.
This is your punishment.
This is your punishment.
I didn't do anything wrong. Why am I getting punished? It's my 50th birthday too.
We're all blowing out the same candles here, metaphorically speaking, since we don't have a lighter. Quick tid to cheer you up.
Okay, yes, please.
The "Mother is the name of God on the lips of all children" line. That's always been my least favorite line in the movie. Anytime it feels really out of place, right? Yeah. I found out why, and now I feel a lot better about it.
Like, is it just like
it's because it's a quote from Vanity Fair. It's a quote from the William Makepeace Thackeray book Vanity Fair.
Whoa.
It's same as all of the Milton, like, Paradise Lost quotes being thrown around. It's a quote from something else, which, like, I don't think it works.
Not in this
but
context.
It helps me understand a little bit better, like, why
it's so funny.
It feels so linguistically weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Makeup. Let's talk about getting that makeup look right, because it was really important to Brandon and very difficult. The application process itself only took about 35 minutes to an hour, which may not sound like that much from the special effects makeup world we're coming from. But to speed up the process, makeup artist Lance Anderson made a rubber mask with eye and mouth slits to get the shape consistent every time, so that he would just, like, put this on, paint the black, and, like, have the same outlines, like, almost like stenciling Brandon's face, basically.
But it wasn't a stencil,
it was a mask.
What?
It was a rubber mask. But the thing is, Brandon and Proyas didn't like how it looked when it was freshly applied. They felt like it looked best when it was a little bit aged. And so Brandon his preference was to sleep in the makeup and come to set with it the next day. And they both agreed that was when it looked the best. I have a quote.
That makes me claustrophobic.
I know.
So he was, like,
always.
He barely had any time out of it.
Yeah. Yep.
No.
Again, what this man devoted to this part.
He really cared about this character.
He really did. So, quote from makeup artist Anderson on doing Brandon's makeup. He said, "I had to keep low key because if I started talking, it would set Brandon off on a story and he would be in for an extra half hour of makeup. He loved Game Boy. He was addicted to it. I'd be painting these delicate lines on his face and he'd hit a point in the game and it would be time for a cleanup job."
Oh my gosh.
I know.
What a little baby.
Sweetie. Practical effects. For all of the CGI we hear talked about after Brandon's death, we are going to talk about it, don't worry. Very little of the film shot before that used computer effects. It favored optical ones instead, because as we know, they're a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
They're also way cooler.
I was going to say they look better.
They look better. One of my favorites, the opening scene where the camera's like, the city in flames.
It's the best.
It's all miniatures.
That's all miniatures. That's what I was hoping.
And the flames are projected. The flames are off camera being projected with multiple layers of projections onto the set. It's so cool.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Car chase sequence, also miniatures. And you know the shot where Brandon is dropping rings into the barrel of the gun? Mm-hmm. All that was they made giant rings and dropped them towards the camera through a puff of smoke.
Oh my God.
To make it look like it's,
easy. There you go.
Church rooftop fight was just modular pieces sitting right on the soundstage floor.
Nice.
They're not actually high up.
Yeah.
So just tons of practicals, which we love.
Especially the 90s did that so well. Especially with, like, you were talking about, like, Tim Burton, like the Ninja Turtles, like this, like, wet, gritty world with this practical effects. It just hit so hard.
Put a pin for the live show. You're not going to believe this. Put a pin for the live show in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah.
Chop perked up.
I know. You're never going to believe where it comes up.
Yeah, that's really cool. Okay.
We also, talking about practical effects, as I mentioned, Mechanical Crow.
Yeah.
Could you tell which scene was the Mechanical Crow?
I mean, sitting there, not now, today, the next day.
Fair.
I don't know. I feel like it was pretty seamless with stuff, though. I'm assuming like some of the any of the flying.
It's
Flying stuff?
the one time where a bird attacks a person was a mechanical crow.
Okay. So just
And
like
it's
the birds.
yep,
or
and they
unlike
had
the birds.
separately animated wings and claws so that the movement would be as convincing as possible. We also, other practical effects fun, we get the scene where Eric's hand has a hole in it.
Yeah.
Mechanical hand, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell it's a mechanical hand.
It's so cool.
It's really
looking,
satisfying, but the fun part to me is how they did the hole sealing up, because it's basically stop motion.
I was wondering what they did, because it definitely, did they like mat that onto, like, or did they have...
What they had was they had the mechanical hand with a hole in it, and basically stop motion started filling it bit by bit with sealant.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Put it all together. Similar situation with Top Dollar getting impaled. They just built a full-scale dummy Top Dollar.
Amazing.
We love.
Dummy Top Dollar.
I hope you got to take that home.
Yeah, right. Just he rode home with it in the car.
Just like someday this will come in handy for a prank. Okay, I told you we were going to talk about this film's crew.
Yeah.
Now we get to. I'm so delighted by this.
I'm excited to hear who everyone is.
And I found a great quote from producer Most on how they put the crew together. He says, quote,
Ooh, yeah.
"We had a first-time feature director, and usually the rule of thumb is to try and engage much more experienced department heads around a less experienced feature director."
Absolutely. We've talked about that on here.
Absolutely. We came up with a motto. I love this.
Oh, gosh.
We're looking for 30-year-olds with 30 years of experience.
Stop.
And boy, did they find them.
That's also nowadays, it's not a nice thing, so that people really are looking for that.
It's true.
They
Back
actually,
then it was charming.
Yeah. Didn't have the evil intent around it now.
Cinematographer is Dariusz Wolski, another Polish DP from the Lodz Film School. He goes on to shoot Crimson Tide, all of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Sweeney Todd. He's becoming a regular collaborator of late career Ridley Scott, so he shot The Martian, House of Gucci, Napoleon. He also shot News of the World, which was one of the first ever projects shot at Camel Rock Studios around the corner from us.
Cute.
And like director Poyas, he came from the music video world. This was very early in his features career. I think he DP'd like maybe one or two.
Fuck.
Gaffer. I don't usually get to talk about the gaffers on projects, but this was so cool. So I was looking to corroborate a report that said that no blue was allowed in the costume designs and sets on this film.
Yeah.
And I was like, it looks true, but why? This brought me to my old favorite, cinematography.com.
Yeah. Honestly, that resource is great.
It's incredible. And on there, I find the CLT, which is the gaffer of the Crow. For those of you who don't know, the gaffer is the head of department for the lighting. So that's what this guy is doing. His name is Claudio Miranda. Have a quote from him. He says this, quote, "We used a yellowing filter, possibly straw, on the camera to be timed out later. Blue, when timed out, would become too electric, so the color blue was not allowed on set. Overall, we kept the color to a minimum. The night scenes were lit mainly with tungstens. HMIs were definitely too blue." And this was something that they did specifically because Brandon Lee in particular, everybody involved in the creative team really wanted this movie to be black and white. Brandon Lee, especially in the featurette, there's pieces of his last on-camera interview, and one of the things he says is he's basically complaining about Hollywood and how like the money people wouldn't let them make it black and white. So all of the creative team came together to make it as close to black and white as possible.
Oh, I love that.
By doing this combination of filters in front of the camera and then timing out the filters in post to drain everything but red from the image to get this kind of monochrome look. And obviously they do the exact opposite for the flashbacks, which are this very kind of extremely bright, colorful, over-the-top look. And after that, I was like, okay, I want to find out more about this guy, Claudio. And so I looked him up. I was like, I wonder what else he's gaffed. Oh, he's left gaffing by now. He's now been DPing. He's been directing directing. He has been the cinematographer on projects such as Life of Pi. He shot Curious Case of Benjamin Button. He shot Top Gun Maverick. He shot F1. So he's one of the top working cinematographers today.
Yeah, those are heavy hitters.
And this, I believe,
I'm a fan of his work.
was his first time as department head was on The Crow. again, just stellar fucking crew.
Truly.
Production designer, Alex McDowell. He's a genius. Goes on to
That sounds
PD
familiar.
Fight Club,
Oh.
Minority Report,
Oh.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Corpse Bride, and hilariously, The Bee Movie. I know. But this was only his second feature.
Oh my
Incredible.
gosh. Wow. I love to sometimes when we talk about these crews, like especially that have like spawned out together, like this was their first, they kind of go on to do similar
to do things together.
things.
Each of them has gone in completely different directions, but
But-
they're all incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's what's interesting is like they went so
so
diverse.
different. Yeah.
Wow.
Very few of them seem to have ever worked together again,
Yeah.
but they all are just like top of their
Killing
game. And speaking of top of their game, the OST, the original soundtrack, is composed by Graham Revell, who is a New Zealand composer who already had a track record in the thriller space at this point. He'd composed the soundtracks for movies like Dead Calm, Child's Play 2, Hear No Evil. After The Crow, he goes on to work on Strange Days, Tank Girl, Basketball Diaries, Bride of Chucky, Lara
shit.
Croft Tomb Raider, and, drumroll please,
Wait, hold on.
he composed The Craft.
Shut the fuck up.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
My drum roll was not rolling at first.
It got rolling. It just needed a little time. The drum roll needed a drum roll.
Yeah. Needed a second.
But of course, it's like the mixtape part of the soundtrack that people, I think, really remember it for, which, you know,
Arguably,
features
the films you also just said have great
mixtape soundtracks. Yeah. So
From-
he's a composer who's really good at working with existing pieces. So, you know, you have the likes of The Cure, whose track Burn features Robert Smith playing a penny whistle to sound like a corvid, apparently composed in just 2 days. Jesus and Mary Chain, Rage Against the Machine. There's a Nine Inch Nails cover of Joy Division. You get on-screen appearances from Medicine and My Life of the Thrill Kill Cult. Allegedly, they also approached New Order to work on the film, obviously given the parallels between Ian Curtis's death and Eric Draven, as well as James O'Barr's long-standing love of Joy Division. There's like chapters of the comic that are named like Atrocity Exhibition, things like that. But they were working on the album Republic at the time. There was also supposed to be another Stone Temple Pilot song on the soundtrack called Only Dying, but the track got swapped out after Brandon's death. Which I do... One of the things that I really walked away from the process of researching this movie with was a really intense respect for how much they changed the movie after Brandon's death in response to it. They really, and we're going to talk about that more, but I really think they tried to do the best they could to be respectful.
Right, but also like Brandon would want this released and
absolutely.
loved
And we're going to talk about that too. One little tidbit that I'm sure Al's going to know. Detroit Devil's Night, obviously, absolutely a real thing.
Yeah.
And 1994, the year of the movie's release, so this hadn't happened at the time, but that was the year of the city's worst ever Devil's Night. And so...
I was 5.
Was it 5?
No, I was 5.
Oh,
years
you were
old.
5. Okay.
Yeah, in 94 I was 5, so...
And it was so intense that the city created Angels Night as a crime prevention initiative the same night. Yeah.
Wow, you're pulling back some lore from me. Yeah, I just remember there was like a lot of like keeping like cats in, kids in, just being aware.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in a suburb of Detroit, so
yeah.
You know.
So, of course, hindsight is 2020. What happened at the end of production is going to color memories from the beginning, but a lot of people from this set have reported that it was an unusually cursed set long before the tragic accident. So on one of the first days of production, there was a near electrocution incident with a mechanic.
Yeah.
Or not a mechanic, sorry. I think it was a carpenter. But people kept getting sick. A whole lot of sets were severely damaged by storms. There was like a storm of the century that came through North Carolina during that time. A truck caught on fire. A sculptor was fired and then drove a truck into the plaster shop, and nobody could tell whether it was accidental or intentional. Someone in construction accidentally put a screwdriver through their hand. Like, it's just so much went wrong.
Oh wow.
So much went wrong. Which brings us to the story we're all dreading.
Let's just skip it. You know what?
No, we can't.
Let's just end this.
Bye, everybody. This has been Splice Splatter, the film podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me preface this by saying part of the reason that I have been dreading talking about this is not just because it is obviously an incredibly tragic story, but because I'm a New Mexican in the New Mexico film industry, and Rust happened here.
Yeah.
And while I was not on Rust, many people that I love were on Rust. And I found out about it that day while I'd literally just gotten out of moderating the panel on the Santa Fe Independent Film Festival's New Mexican Film Salon panel.
I didn't know that.
We walked out of it, and one of my co-panelists was like, holy shit, there was just a shooting on set. She's a good friend of Helena Hutchins, who died. And so we were all just standing around trying to figure out live what happened. I later found out that my cinematographer almost was one of the people who stepped in to replace the camera crew that left that day. It's really close to home for me. And so because of that, I come from a place of, I don't think there should ever be real guns on film sets anymore. There are a lot of people who disagree with me on that.
I don't know why. I'm with you, just so you know.
Love that.
Yeah, I mean, very hard. I think we've talked about it too. Like,
I think
I'm
we
not.
have. Yeah.
I am not a gun person. They
Same.
terrify the fuck out of me because the power that they hold. Even fake ones on set in film school.
I know.
would be I was terrified holding them. I don't like the weights.
It like
I don't
puts me into a cold sweat.
Yeah, it makes me actually very like paralyzed.
Yeah.
To a point. So,
And
yeah. That's our stance. So.
Yeah, and you kind of now can't talk about The Crow without talking about Rust because Eliza, Brandon's fiance, broke her like 30-year silence, almost 30 at that point, 28-year silence at that time on what had happened to release a statement on Rust saying this is why we can't have guns on film sets anymore.
Oh, I'm glad she said something.
Me too.
Again, like I feel like it's this, and that my first thought went to.
Which is actually, that was the first time I watched The Crow, was after Rust, because everybody was talking about it. I went back and watched it for the first time and was like, God, what a talent we've lost. Boy, did I not know the half of it.
Yeah.
So all of that is just to say, I'm going to do the best I can to tell this story as, straightforwardly as I can, but I know that my own perspective is going to color the way I talk about this. So just...
Well,
putting that out
I'm
there.
with you. This would be the way I would also talk about it, and not having that close of an experience with it. So
it's like I can remember like the way the air smelled on the day when I heard about it. Like it's one of those memories.
Yeah, I mean, especially being in the film industry, like that. Yeah, rattled.
Yeah, yeah. So, March 31st, 1993. It's between 3 and 8 days from the end of production. Brandon himself had 3 days left of shooting. And to understand the accident, I think we have to talk about the context and we have to talk about the lead up. Because it's important to note here that I've seen quotes from Tony Todd in particular saying that people had been working 17-hour days on this show.
When you talked about the night shoots, you said 10 to sunrise. I was like, oh, there. And then like mix of... union, non-union. Yeah. I was like, oh, great. These are going to be long nights.
Oh, yeah. And 6-day weeks, 17-hour days. And when you're working like that, you're not thinking straight. Like, you're not able...
12 hours even feels like that.
Absolutely. And that's standard for the film industry. 12 hours is the standard day of the film industry, in case y'all don't know.
And that doesn't include getting there and getting home.
Right. And a lot of the time, the clock stops running during lunch, too. So it's, like, actually a longer day. But anyway, yeah. Film industry is crazy, y'all. So another problem, because Eric's death was one of the last days of shooting, because you're 4 days from the end of production, the producers had sent the firearms advisor home early from the project.
What the fuck?
So there was no firearms advisor on set that day, which, like, this is why you never do that. You keep the firearms advisor the entire time there are guns on set.
Here you go, producer. Yeah. Are there firearms on set?
Then there should be a firearms advisor. There. Yep. Period.
What the fuck?
That's it.
What the fuck? Wow.
So, okay, here's what happened. And this, I had to like teach myself how guns work to understand this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my absolute best to explain it. I'm somebody who's only shot a gun one time, but I'm gonna do my best. So, 2 weeks before Brandon's death, production bought real cartridges, real bullets, instead of correctly made dummy cartridges and modified them themselves for a close-up shot of a gun firing. Now, we need to talk about what is a dummy cartridge, what is a blank, and what is a live round, because all three play a role in this story. This is super simplified, but basically there are three main parts of a cartridge that we're going to talk about. There is the bullet, which is the tip. That's like the metallic part that you know the shape of, that everybody recognizes. There's the charge, which is the gunpowder inside. It's like the stuffing.
Yeah.
And there's the primer, which is what kicks off the combustion that makes the gun fire. So those are your three parts. A regular bullet has all three. A regular cartridge, I should say, because the bullet, again, is the tip part. A dummy is supposed to have no charge and no primer. It's just the tip, basically. So a blank is a special kind of charge. So it has wadding, inert powder, cardboard, things like that, in addition to gunpowder. And it has no bullet tip, but it does have a primer.
Okay.
So it's got two of the three, essentially, although one of the things is modified. So what they do for this shot with a dummy bullet, with a dummy round, which again, that's a close-up. The reason they'd use a dummy for a close-up is that dummies are what's used to test a gun's function. They're completely inert. It's not going to fire anything. It's going to give you the motion of pulling a trigger.
Got it.
It's not going to give you a sound, which is what blanks are for, because blanks, again, have gunpowder in them to make the boom. They don't have to make the boom. They have the boom. They do not have the tip, which, again, that's the part that makes it dangerous.
Yeah.
So they're shooting a dummy round in a close-up, and they take live cartridges, empty out the powder to make dummy rounds. What's missing here? There's still a primer in there. So when you take it from a live round, there's still that primer. Here's where you hit a huge problem. I'm bringing in a quote here from firearms safety specialist Dave Brown, who says, quote, "What many people may not know is that if the primer is still live, when you pull the trigger, there's no sound, but the spark from the primer," which that's, again, what you're seeing in a close-up, you're seeing the spark, nothing else, "can expel a bullet an inch or two forward, even with no gunpowder in the case."
Sure.
This is what happens, is then you have just the tip, the bullet part, stuck in the gun, and nobody realizes it. And there are reports... There's an extra on set who said that they saw the person doing this shot pull the trigger one extra time when nobody was watching, which they shouldn't have been able to do.
Right.
That tells you there was probably one extra dummy round that nobody knew to check for obstructions. So what you have now is the bullet tip from a modified real round stuck unseen in the barrel of the gun for 2 weeks, unbeknownst to the prop handler, who doesn't know how to check for such obstructions because they're not a firearms expert.
Yeah, they're props.
They're props. This kind of problem is called a squib load. That's the name for that. 2 weeks later, they load that same gun with a blank, which again has primer and charge, but no tip. It is a .44 Magnum Smith & Wesson model 629 revolver. It is about 15 feet away from Brandon, which should be totally a safe distance for a blank. That,
you were saying just 2 to 3 feet, you said, is how far the one?
Something like that. And again, that's from the perspective of how you're supposed to use blanks, that's a safe distance. But there's not somebody on set who knows how to do things like teach the actor to cheat the angle so that the gun is not pointed actually directly at another human body. And there's nobody who knows how to check for obstructions. And they've been working 17-hour days, and everybody's exhausted, and everybody's rushing. It's the very end. He only has 3 more days to shoot, and then he's going to travel to Mexico to marry his fiancée.
No, I don't want to cry. Shut up.
I know.
Shut your mouth.
And so here's a quote from Dave Brown. What happens, the actor, Michael Massey, pulls the trigger. It fires. Blank propels the stuck bullet out. And as Dave Brown puts it, quote, "A blank has as much as twice the amount of gunpowder as a real cartridge." Because, again, the goal is to have a big bang. And so when the bullet was still lodged in the barrel from 2 weeks previous, the blank propelled the bullet out the barrel with the same explosive force as a real cartridge. It basically, you get the two parts of these two things that are both part of a real cartridge, and they basically combine to make one. And nobody realizes anything is wrong because the take looks great. The director calls cut, and Brandon doesn't get up.
Oh my God.
And he never gets up again.
Oh.
He never wakes up. He never regains consciousness. And they rush him to the hospital, give him blood transfusions, 6 hours of operation.
Ugh.
He never wakes up and passes about 12 hours later. It had lodged in his spinal cord. So even quite likely, it sounds to me like even if he had woken up, he would have been paralyzed.
That poor actor should be gotten too.
Just so horrible. So in the immediate aftermath, the cast and crew is just sort of stuck in Wilmington, North Carolina. Like, what the fuck do we do now?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out where you go from here.
And you're trying to process grief. So
And
you're like
trying to
you're having to like separate your brain of like, we have to move forward, but also.
Right. And, you know, they're kind of trying to decide what to do. We're going to talk about how they make this decision in just a second. Obviously, they decide to finish the film, but they all agree that they're only going to do this after a bereavement period. So production starts up again on May 27th. Or May 26th, just shy of 2 months later. They offer grief counselor to all of the returning cast and crew.
I mean, yeah.
You have to.
At the very least, jeez.
But how does that call get made? Let's talk about it. Completing the movie at that point is less of a technical challenge than a moral and emotional one. And as producer Pressman put it, quote, there was never a question about the technical ability to finish the movie, but there was a serious question psychologically, and it really revolved around Proyas. Alex at first did not want to go on with the film. He was destroyed by the accident and so devastated he had no heart to continue. It was only because Eliza and later the whole cast and crew appealed to him that he started to consider it. Insurance said they would pay us what the film cost if we abandoned it or support us if we went ahead. They gave us a choice, which is extremely uncommon.
Yeah, that's wild.
But if Alex had not wanted to continue, I would have chosen to abandon the movie. Which, that's, again, that I'm glad that they made it a true choice. About a third of the crew, Obar included, chooses not to return. 2/3 come back.
Yeah.
Makeup artist Anderson said, quote, I was very close to Brandon, and I felt that completing the film would be closing the loop. I had a son exactly his age, 28, and I related to him like a father. So the time at home made me feel even stronger about going back to finish.
Yeah.
Not everyone felt that way. Sheenus, who plays Shelley Webster, was contractually obligated but miserable and said, quote, what happened on that stage truly gives a new meaning to the word tragedy. I really didn't want to go back. And, you know, again, she's contractually obligated.
Yeah.
She had to. She did not want to.
Yeah,
her appearance there is not an endorsement on her part of it moving forward. The actual footage of the scene where Brandon dies does not appear in the film, and in fact should no longer exist. To the best of my understanding, it likely was taken as evidence, and then most likely was destroyed as part of the suit settlement. More on that later. They did choose to drastically change how the scene was shot out of sensitivity. Obviously, it's the one where the character of Eric Draven dies and falls back through the window.
Yeah.
So they really drastically changed the setup. So instead of seeing any close-ups of the gun firing, you cut straight to the body falling out of the window. That's a stunt double who has Brandon's face CGI'd onto him. That to me is the worst example of CGI in the movie. Everywhere else it appears is very convincing. They also cut some existing shots out of the movie. Things like they'd had close-ups of bullet holes in Eric's body, and they were like, we can't have that anymore. We're changing. We're taking that out, which again, props to them for that.
Yeah, truly.
It to a degree leaves me wondering if that's part of why this remains my favorite superhero film, is that it is made, there's like this extra layer of sensitivity that they go back through it with that I don't think would have been there had this not happened. They briefly, so horrifying. Remember how I mentioned that they had like these rubber masks?
Yeah.
They briefly were like, well, we have these face molds of Brandon. Do we just put that on the stunt doubles? And they tried one day and everybody was like, fuck no, we cannot do that. Thank God they decided not to. Yep. So instead they only shot the doubles in wide shots.
Okay.
Thank God. And again, they use a lot of really cutting-edge computer technology for that. However, for how to spot the scenes where CGI is standing in for Brandon, you have to wait for the live show. I'm going to walk us through where that is, how it's done, all of that good stuff so that you can see it right as you're about to watch the film.
Yeah.
So, a lot of what was left unshot from those last 3 days was going to be scenes between Eric and Shelley, and they basically decided to just cut most of those instead, which is why a lot of their relationship kind of remains a mystery and is told through montage, is because that was a lot of what they'd left to the end of the shoot. They're like, let's do the easiest stuff last.
The makeup, we don't have to do yeah.
Of course, the worst was having to shoot that death scene, and I did find one quote about it, because obviously they had to go back to the soundstage that he died on. I found a quote from makeup artist Anderson, who said, "It was strange. After we finished the scene, we all got kind of drunk. We had tried to pretend it didn't matter and didn't affect us, and then we let our hair down and hugged each other."
Oh,
and
my God, they seem like such a great group of people working on this.
It truly is just like, it makes it all the worse to hear these stories about how much everybody behind the scenes loved him, loved the project, believed in it, put everything they had into it, wanted it to be the best it could possibly be. And just... It's the confluence of so many small errors. I mean, not small, but so many mistakes.
Yeah.
That, like, any one of those things going wrong on its own, and he would still be alive today. It's the fact that so many lined up. So, the distributor dilemma. Now we get to pick that pin out.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what happened. Brandon dies, and obviously the schedule is thrown off. It puts them behind by about 2 months. And that gives Paramount the legal right to drop the film, which they immediately do.
Assholes, damn.
I know. And even though they watch it when they've put it back together and are seemingly impressed by the cut that they do, they're just like, nah, we're going to let it go. And producer Pressman attributes it to PR anxieties, because at the time, Paramount was trying real hard to get acquired by Viacom or QVC. And so they did not want any kind of PR coming their way. Of course, from Paramount's perspective, there's also the difficulty of promoting a film whose director now refuses to discuss it and whose lead actor is dead. Like, who do you send on the press tour?
Right.
So it's just a nightmare. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
So they're left with a completed film with no distributor, and it stays that way for months. From whenever they showed Paramount a cutscene up until sometime in March of 1994.
Oh, wow.
That's when Miramax finally picks it up. And it's particularly fascinating because Miramax themselves had already been acquired by Disney at this point in June of 1993. And this is so not a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is under the Dimension Films label, which, like, got away with, like, a little bit more. But, like, it's still, this is post-acquisition. However... if there's one thing Harvey Weinstein was good at, it was spinning a story, right?
I mean,
there's a part of me that kind of, I don't have any quotes to back this up, but I strongly suspect that Harvey Weinstein saw this happen and was like, oh, ultimate distributor's challenge.
Yeah.
I'm going to prove that I can do it.
In, like, the yuckiest way.
In the absolute most disgusting way. And spoiler alert, he won. Yeah. He succeeded, but we're going to get to that in a second. So... aftermath. I'd mentioned that there's a connection to Brandon's father's death. Now we pull that pin out. I think you already know this story. Brandon's dad, Bruce, had also tragically died young in the midst of production. He was 33 at the time that he died of cerebral edema on the set of Game of Death. And the plot of Game of Death, which was also posthumously recut with the story changed after its lead's death, the new story that they gave it involves the character dying because the character that Bruce Lee is playing in that movie is a stuntman, and the bullets in the gun that shoot him are replaced by real bullets. So it's like what goes on to happen to his son. Not literally, but the parallel is really striking. They're buried side by side. However, I will say there's a lot of people who say that Brandon's mother and fiance Eliza really supported the production going forward. His mom opened a negligent death suit against the production company. Let's see, it was production company, stunt coordinator Jeff Imada, and Michael Massey, the actor who fired the gun, which, like, it's not his fault.
I know. I'm like, why did the actor that? It's never that. Like, that's not their job. It's not their job.
Filmmakers were fined $77,000 for workplace safety violations, which I know they felt terrible, but that's a fucking pittance. It should have been much higher than that.
Yeah.
Suit settled outside of court. We don't know how much it was for. Brandon himself had, according to producer Most, already signed on to film 2 sequels at the time that he died. As I said, he and Eliza were supposed to go to Mexico immediately after he wrapped to get married. I will mention here that I found an Entertainment Weekly article that's quoting an anonymous source who's close to the family, saying that Eliza didn't so much want to see the film go forward as she was like, I can't have an objective perspective on this. And then the producers took that and ran with it, which I suspect is probably true.
Yeah.
However, I'm always hesitant when it's an anonymous source.
Yeah.
And Entertainment Weekly.
I was going to say Entertainment Weekly.
Do we really, how much do we really trust that? So anyway, I'll just put out there that like, there's a lot of places where the producers are like, if it weren't for Eliza pushing us to continue, and
I don't think that was her concern.
I don't think that was really it.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, everyone had very different ways of handling this trauma. Obar ends up donating most of the money he made to charities afterwards because, as he said, quote, I was really good friends with Brandon, and so it just felt like blood money to me. So I didn't want to profit at his expense. And I kept that secret for as long as I could. It's not charity if you get credit for it. I don't, however, know what charities. And I did see an article that perhaps there was also some dispute between Eliza and the filmmakers about what kind of charities they should go to, because apparently they wanted to donate to quote unquote inner city children, and she wanted to donate to set safety, which I think is also telling.
Yeah.
Michael Massey, of course, took it particularly hard.
I can't imagine.
He refused to speak about it for over a decade. When he finally did give an interview on it, he said, quote, it absolutely was not supposed to happen. I wasn't even supposed to be handling the gun until we started shooting the scene and the director changed it, which is part of why Alex Proyas feels so bad, is that wasn't even scripted. I just took a year off and went back to New York and didn't do anything. I didn't work. What happened to Brandon was a tragic accident. I don't think you ever get over something like that. So many lives ruined. Again, by guns on set. Just don't have them. Again, I don't think there's a way.
Out there to not
there's
have to do
so
that.
much technology. Prop guns can look so good. And it's also just like, no matter how many layers of safety precautions you put in place, human error will always be there. Period. So, release premieres on Friday the 13th in May of 94. Again, after 4 rounds of cuts to get down to an NC-17.
Was that the best day to put it out?
I know. I
don't know. I think they could have not done that.
Especially given that
there's so much bad luck. They're like,
I know,
and test our luck one more time.
The producers talked so much about how they hate people talking about it as a horror movie and how they see it as a love story. And then I'm like, so you released it on Friday the 13th because it's a love story?
Yeah, I also think with the tragedy, I don't think that was a great.
I don't think it was a good
idea.
Call. I think that's very much a Harvey Weinsteinism. Yeah, that's what that.
Yeah, that was
like
his spin. There you go. There it was.
And it does extremely well at the box office. Do you want to guess how much this made?
It was like 23, you said, mil to make. I'm going to guess like extremely well.
Extremely well.
120.
Not quite that.
Okay.
But
80.
In between the two. Opened at number 1 at the box office. Became Miramax's biggest opening to date.
Wow.
24th highest grossing film of the year worldwide. 10th highest with an R rating. And earns a total of $94 million back.
Damn it, though. I was going to guess 90. And
You're very close. And I think that with both the box office and the critical reception, you can't really divorce the way the film itself was received from the tragedy surrounding it. And that just sort of, you've got to acknowledge that. It comes up again and again in interviews. I found a quote from James Berardinelli, who calls the film a case of life imitates death. Which, like, don't do that. Yeah. Critics, please don't say that. Of course, part of what's being mourned, though, is the career that would have been. The films that Brandon was going to make would have made after this, which is something I think Ebert does a really good job of acknowledging in his review. And he says that Brandon's work here is actually better than anything his father ever did, which is really high praise.
What a weird thing to say, though.
It's kind of gross, but it's also...
No, but...
It sounds like something that Brandon himself was kind of aware of at the time, too, because Obar recalls, quote, Brandon told me it was the very first time in his entire life when he was on a project and he didn't feel like he was Bruce Lee's son. I know.
He ended on that note for himself, you know.
And I do think that's part of why, to me, it does feel justified that the film got released, because I do think that's what Brandon would have wanted after reading these interviews. Like, he put so much of himself into this movie
the world
that
got to see it.
Yeah,
And
now
love
he's
it.
known for this.
Yeah.
And he deserves that for the work he put in. Now holds an 87% from critics, a 90% from audiences. And in his contemporary review, Ebert called it, quote, the best version of a comic book universe I've ever seen. And describes it as grungier than Batman or Blade Runner, which is high praise.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point, we have to briefly acknowledge the existence of the sequels, The Crow City of Angels, The Crow Salvation, The Crow Wicked Prayer, and the TV show The Crow Stairway to Heaven, and of course the widely detested 2024 remake starring Bill Skarsgård and F.K. Twigs, both of whom I love and both of whom I think should have known better.
Shame.
I think they both should have known better than to take the project, especially, this is just a personal peeve, but I don't think you can remake The Crow with a white guy. Like, I don't think you do that, especially with how much the film is about gentrification and inequity and stuff like that. Like, I just think it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Bad as the Joker movie. So,
exactly. A bar, as usual, full of good quotes on the subject, saying that the remake, way back in 2016, before it even was out of development, he said about it that, quote, execs are like, we need to get the Twilight crowd. And I'm like, no, you need to get the girl with the dragon tattoo crowd. That's kind of what it's like dealing with Hollywood. It's the only city in the world that lives up to every single one of its stereotypes.
Oh my God, stop. Sure.
And in a fun little owl-coded tidbit, in the late 90s, Rob Zombie also announced that he was working on a spin-off called The Crow 2037.
Oh my God.
Thankfully, that movie never came to fruition, but it would have been Zombie's directorial debut rather than 2003's House of a Thousand Corpses.
No way.
I know. Yeah.
Whoa.
Let's see. Do I have anything else here that we need to go
And I love his
through?
love for things, Rob Zombie. Sometimes I do think he just needs to take a seat.
I don't think The Crow is for him.
Yeah.
I don't think
his
The Crow
original
is for
stuff
him.
is the best stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Love you, Rob.
And that's what I've got before
God.
the live show.
Yeah.
Again, you heard what we'll talk about there.
I thought you were going to be like, and for an owl tidbit, you're going to have to wait for the live show.
God damn it. That's
that was very. I didn't. Thanks for walking through, like, because again, I'm not a fan of guns because
Same.
I know
because of this kind of stuff.
powerful they
Yeah.
are. And so I didn't know the details of that.
I'm like,
So
I know we're
thanks
not
for
a gun
breaking that down.
podcast, but it felt like for something like this,
it's helpful to understand.
I was just so scared that I was going to tell the story, and in my attempt to tell an abridged version of it, I would say something wrong about what happened.
Yeah.
And not know enough to catch myself.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I have to teach myself what bullets are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes it all the more tragic because it so clearly is just a horrible accident.
Yeah.
Like, there is no
But
part
that's
of
why,
that
like, I always have this thing too, especially like sets. It's like you're not finished till you're finished.
Yep.
And so,
you can't.
The last day should be as important as the first
day.
And it's just like there's no reason to rush.
Yeah.
I think I say that even with like us and doing things. I'm just like, there's not
Yeah.
a reason to rush for anything
Bad things
because
happen
it's just
when
like
you rush.
like
Bad things
running
happen.
on set, doing all those things. It's just like it's not fucking worth it. I think there was an I forget too, just talking about like set safety and working long hours. I forget what set it was that started that like law of, or like, God, was it Riverdale even? Did somebody like pass away on like the set of Riverdale? I don't know. It was some show and they like changed their entire production of like sending, I want to say it was Riverdale, and they like sent actors home in a car service because they didn't want anyone driving home like potentially
smart.
2 hours after a 12-hour day. That was the last time I worked on set. I worked on a reality show, and it was in Culver City. I was in Burbank, and 12-hour days, and it was 2 hours to get there. And it was just like my whole day was just like I went home and it was just dark.
You literally,
it was dark all the time.
Even if you go home and just get straight into bed, you're not going to get enough sleep.
Yeah,
like, you
I
can't.
mean,
there's not enough hours in the day.
So that on top of everything, and just I don't know. There's no reason to not have the appropriate people, especially with shit like that. How it pisses me off because it was such an avoidable thing.
Exactly, and this is part of my thing with Rust again, is it's just like,
Oh yeah.
truly the only way I see to prevent things like that happening in the future is for the gun to not be there at all. Because no matter how many blocks you put up of like, well, we need to have like an IOTC crew member who's the firearms expert there. Rust did. Still happened.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things where it's like you can count on all the safety precautions that you want, and there's still going to be human error.
And it happened.
And it happened.
Yeah, no, I am with you. I yelled that from the rooftops, to be fair.
Yep.
I'm not really afraid to say that.
So glad to hear it. Because I was like, I
very
can't.
hard opinions on that.
I can't talk about this movie without giving that spiel. Like, I just don't think there's any excuse for us to still be using real guns in this day and age. Period. Anyway.
Oh my God, where do we go from
happy
here?
birthday
Happy
to
birthday,
us. Again, we wanted a 6 sad gay birthday special.
Yeah.
This is it.
Boy, oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'm excited to hear those facts live. Again, we'll put that episode out for all of you. We have behind the screen stuff, which we're super excited about. So that's the up.
That's the up.
Here.
Yeah.
I just realized this is what I was going to ask on the break. What are we doing next?
Oh, wait. I know this. Do I know this?
We might have to pause.
Yes.
We just talked about it.
I think it's the Heather's Berry.
As you whisper into the mic.
As I whisper into the mic.
Is that the next one?
I believe that's the next one, because I have our next several episodes planned out in my head. But let's just go ahead and announce it.
Let's just say it.
Yeah.
So to look forward to. Well, behind the screens, everything will be on YouTube.
It is. That is the next one.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll
correct.
just say it, and guess what? If we're wrong, we'll show up next time with a different.
If we're wrong, there's
pairing.
no consequences for us because we run the show. It's great. Yeah. I'll be covering my beloved 1988 Heathers.
Oh my God, I don't know when mine came out. I'm doing Ginger Snaps. Which, again, we've talked about a lot. I watched it for the first time not that long ago. I think within a decade. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I think you're going to really like it.
I think I am as well.
Pleasantly surprised. When was it, Ginger Snaps?
2000.
Really? 2000?
Interesting.
Damn.
Right in your sweet
start
spot.
of my
Yeah.
the early 2000s, the early aughts. I think that's a good
Ginger Snaps, Heathers,
back
back to school. It'll be coming out on September 1st, so right as everyone's going back.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for spooky season.
Me too.
I want to drink some of that gin.
Oh, I know. The Elvira gin.
Yeah.
Kick
And
back
watch
with some
spookies.
Elvira gin, some Heathers and Veronicas.
Have the weather cool down.
Oh.
It won't because global warming, but you know. Anyways, happy 50th.
Happy 50th.
Yay, I'm gonna high-five
we
you.
did it. We read
Warren
somewhere
and Trav on the other side of the room. High
at
five.
the very beginning that I think it's 90% of podcasts or something insane don't make it to 50 episodes.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we've outlived
and those are
them.
probably weekly. So we've I remember when we first started the podcast, we were like, how long will it take us to get to 100? And we're like, 4 years.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Correct.
come back in 2 more years, guys.
I know when we
we'll
started, we were like, I'm sure we're going to switch to weekly at some point. And the episodes have just gotten so in depth.
Yeah, we might be teasing if you guys are interested. We might be doing, because we talk a lot afterwards, we might look into doing a little post-show blab session
content.
Yeah, it's little, or even just in between. If you guys want to hear more of us, or if you have ideas, please let us know. If you guys, we have some links in our link tree to, we have a shout out section. So if you want to help support the podcast so we can work on getting guests and stuff on here, which we have lots of
ideas. Yeah.
We want to start finally dipping our toe into that territory.
Into the guest
but
water.
yeah, if you guys want to help support us, there's a monthly donation. Because we're kind of a tiny crew getting this as most podcasts are. It seems like we get a bunch of funds flown in, but we don't.
We don't. Yeah. And speaking of, one of y'all found our little donation link already. So thank you to supporters Scarabones.
Shout out. So if you guys want to shout out, we're looking forward to saying hi to you all in the episode. And other than that, thank yous. Just round of thank yous.
I think so. Yeah. Thanks, Warren. I'm glad
Warren,
we can see you now.
Episodes.
This is great.
I know. I cleaned the podcast studio the other day so we can all see each other.
It's
feels
wonderful.
lovely.
It really
I hope.
does. Yeah.
Thanks, Trav, for all your
Travi
research
Havoc.
today. Thank you, Theo, for hanging in with us and giving us our music for 50 episodes.
And thank
we will
you
never
all
change
for
it.
for listening to us for 50 episodes.
Yeah,
It's really
and we see you every day. People coming and listening to older episodes.
It's
so welcome
really
to
cool.
everyone who's new
Yeah.
and listening to us, and for everyone who's hung in there
We
for the
love
entire
you.
ride, because
Yeah.
we also see you.
Truly.
Until then,
Yeah, this has been Splice and Splatter, the film podcast presented by the Jean Cocteau Cinema in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where classic horror.
it's modern gore.
And until next time, we'll be right back.